fury. One of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead.
I spoke to you about the situation in the Gulf and explained that the United Kingdom was not involved in the strikes on Iran. That remains the case. The basis of our decision is the collective self-defense of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. That is in accordance with international law, and we are publishing a summary of our legal advice. We are not joining these strikes, but we will continue with our defensive actions in the region.
Mr Farage, would a reform government have allowed US forces to use UK air bases for offensive operations in Iran?
Yes is the answer to your question. I would have said to the Americans, please do use our bases. We will be supportive of you on this.
There were a series of very loud blasts in the area of Dubai that I'm based in. That's in the marina area. It's a very touristy area, actually. Those blasts were the loudest we've heard yet, but equally we are reassured that they are most likely the sound of interception by the UAE's quite sophisticated THAAD interception kit. That is the Terminal High Altitude Area Defence System.
Across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
A very good morning to you. Welcome along. Just gone 6 o'clock. You would Talk, of course, the home of common sense and the home of the alarm clock. Brett, it's Friday the 13th. What are you superstitious about? I'm just superstitious of Starmer, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Welcome to the show. As ever, your views on the news of the day. The amazing viral sensation that is Charlie Rowley. In just a tick, and your thoughts via calls or voice notes or whatever. Tommy is in the building. 0344 499 1000. Christian's in, and Big D. Honestly, he stepped in at the last moment. Big Dave is on the decks. Dave Double Decks is in there. Basically, he was supposed to go home. He's been here since midnight, but he stepped into the breach. Good man. Watch that invoice come winging in. Right, what are you waking up to on this Friday morning? Shocking news, actually. A British airbase in Iraq came under attack late yesterday from Iranian drones, and our Defence Secretary, John Healey, mainly probably the only sane member of the Labour government, says that Putin's hidden hands could well be behind the attack. Also breaking overnight, a US tanker plane has crashed over Iraq with multiple casualties. We'll keep you updated there. But don't worry, my friends. You know the way this show goes. I'm full of honesty. With all that's going on in Iraq, when we consider that the world is teetering on the edge of we don't know what. I mean, it's frightening to anybody. News in today that the Foreign Office has excelled itself again. Not staff have been caught on video celebrating the Islamic Revolution by attending a party at the Iranian embassy just weeks after they massacred 30,000 people, their own people. When approached about this by the Excellent Telegraph, the Foreign Office said it's normal part of diplomacy to help protect the UK by celebrating with people who are murderers. 0344 499 1000, text to 87222, and back here, Starmer, extraordinary, finally stood up yesterday and took full responsibility for appointing Mandelson. Kemi says you've told lie after lie, and yet again the comms team that are associated with our Prime Minister get it sadly wrong. He apologised to Epstein victims, right, in a community centre surrounded by crying children who kept interrupting him. extraordinary. And big news about that Al-Quds march on Saturday. We're talking about this, got Blexley on later. Many people annoyed about this Iranian march. Hate march, terrorist march was going to be banned, but apparently we can't ban them because they're going to stand still and wave their flags and shout terrible things. So the police have come up with a great idea. They're going to separate protesters by using the River Thames. Could I respectfully suggest you just throw them all in the River Thames? That might be a good idea. And just in case you were waking up on a dull, wet Friday morning thinking, why do I do this? Just change your life. I mean, look, let me tell you about an inspirational story. Two asylum seekers have shown real fortitude and business acumen. They were jailed yesterday for running a county lines drug network from their taxpayer-funded hotel room. The pair used a migrant hotel in Bournemouth as a base for their illegal empire, which went through the roof. The judge said, I very much hope you will be deported because your presence in this country is not conducive to the public good. Let's celebrate that judge. Let's make him in charge of the legal system. 6:06. A very good morning and welcome to the man who puts the viral in everything I do. Harry? Charlie? Who's Harry? Oh, sorry.
I'm off.
I can smell. Morning, Charlie, dear. How are you?
Good morning, Shimmy. Thanks for having me.
Always. There's so much to talk about. Let's start with the breaking news to do with Iran. A British air base in Iraq come under attack overnight. Iranian drones, they seem to have so many of these. Whether or not the US has not realised this, I don't know. But our own Defence Secretary, John Healey, saying that Putin's hidden hands could well be behind the attack.
Yeah, well, that is a huge development. We know that Iran and Russia and the likes of China and Venezuela are all working together. They've got strong links, funded by Iran, usually funded also by Russia in order to sort of divide the east and west of the world, it seems, when there was a growing alliance between the EU and the US. But the idea that Iran, that Russia could be funding and providing support and capabilities and operational direction to Iran to target UK air bases, UK troops, UK citizens, I think is a huge development. And I know you said earlier on that John Healey, someone that's highly regarded or someone that he
appears to be more switched on than most.
He does, but this guy was caught, I think, floundering at the lack of being able to deploy HMS Dragon and couldn't quite come up with the answers there as to why that wasn't deployed, why we don't seem to have been prepared in Cyprus to protect our own people and our own military personnel. But you're right, someone that appears to talk sense now has to answer questions as to what it is that we do next as a country if it is the case that Russia is supporting Iran, is providing it all that capability, weaponry and operational support to target specifically the UK citizens or UK air bases.
It's really interesting because, of course, I said this last week and I'll keep saying it, apparently a majority of people in this country, and I get this, were against being part of that initial wave, but we are going to be dragged into this. This is not going to go away, and the result of that is that we need to be on the front foot, not the back foot. Breaking also overnight, a US tanker plane crashed over Iraq with multiple casualties feared. This is from Michael. Can you ask Charlie, would the US attack plane and fuel tanker have crashed if Starmer had allowed them to refuel on our air bases a bit sooner? That's a really interesting point, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's not one I'd really want to answer, and I don't think many people would want to answer it, because if it is the case that we didn't allow, or that jet would have been fueled, or whatever's happened, could have been prevented by just allowing the US to use our air bases when they requested. I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about.
I've never felt more lacking in confidence in a Prime Minister internationally, and we've lived through quite a few. This is interesting as well. News that the new Ayatollah, this was Khomeini's son, Muqtada or whatever his name is, the 56-year-old, apparently he's in a coma with one leg. Have you heard about this?
well.
I mean, we don't know if it's true, but apparently we don't know whether it was attacked when his father was killed or has been attacked subsequently. But it's interesting because state television in Iran seems to be giving out information from him. Is he just some sort of... Is he some figurehead that they've given the job to? Who's running Iran? It makes you wonder as well about those Russian links, to be fair.
Well, absolutely. Because whatever is the situation amongst the Ayatollah and the supreme leadership and who is actually calling the shots, if they are actually calling the shots, they're coming from somewhere.
Yep.
And whether it is just Iranian defence chiefs that are, still firing off their drones. I mean, the other question that I think is we've got to look at is what kind of drones Iran are using. So they do appear to have or it was
huge amounts.
Huge amounts, and they used their initial set, which might, just for the intents purposes of this conversation, could be the more cheaper version.
Yep.
But it is the case that they've got reserves that have been funded by Russia. And of course, one of them that was shot down had, it was discovered, Russian technology sort of inserted into it. So there is a link there.
Yep.
How far and to what extent? We've got to get to the bottom of it. But you're absolutely right. If we don't deal with this now, and if we don't disrupt that partnership, all of those links that we talked about, whereby Iran are now sort of holding that bit of the straits, the water where all the ships and containers...
Well, this is the straits. I mean, we've actually got Rear Admiral Chris Parry on later, because that is the main shipping line in the world to get everything through that we have in Europe and across the world, and that's a major, major issue. Let's say good morning. Right, you see? Charlie and I have done 10 minutes and we've tried to talk seriously about the war, and you're starting on Starmer. Just hold your breath, OK? Can I just point out that this just about sums up what's wrong with this country. Whilst all of this is going on and World War III is potentially around the corner and British troops are being attacked and Russian links are being explained, the Foreign Office have shown themselves to be exactly what they are. Charlie, Foreign Office diplomatic staff, i.e. the blob, have been celebrating the Islamic Revolution by attending a party at the Iranian embassy just weeks after that regime massacred 30,000 of its own people. You couldn't write it up, and a Foreign Office official said, it's normal part of diplomacy to help protect the UK. What the hell does that mean?
And that goes to the heart of the problem. In government, in the civil service, you've got people that are just happy to continue things as if nothing's happened. But at the same time, you'll have officials sort of withdrawing from, or calling for boycotts of the World Cup or the Olympics or the Paralympics because of Russia's involvement in Ukraine.
Do the main agencies of this country, like the Home Office and the Foreign Office, deliberately have a mandate to do everything that's actually against the British people and makes no damn sense? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they have no mandate at all, or they shouldn't have.
We should throw the Iranian officials out of this country and close their bloody embassy, not go to a drinks do with them.
Well, and this is part of the problem, and this is important. I know people will say, well, hold on, it might have been, just a drinks reception, or it might be overblown or over-reported. It isn't. The reason why it matters is because if you give the impression, as part of the UK embassy in Iran, to the leadership that everything's okay and don't worry, nothing to see here. Oh, okay, we know that we've got your problems, but that's for you to deal with. You deal with your people. Whether you want to massacre 40,000 of them or not, that's up to you. We don't care. We'll just keep, our
I'll have a gin and tonic. Is that all right? Yeah, stop the people who have died.
Exactly, and we'll keep relations going as per. If you don't confront that actually when it happens, you then get to a situation where we are now, where you have to use as much force as you possibly can to get rid of a tyrannical regime that, by the way, I don't know why there are any parties going on in Iran, frankly, because they are the state funder of international terrorism that are targeting and have targeted repeatedly UK air defences and our bases. So it is beggars belief.
Without any shadow of a doubt, 13 minutes past 6, right, I've done my best, or even breast, to prove that I can only talk about other things apart from Starmer. But he's done it again. Before I bring myself to tell you, we'll say a very good morning to Andrew.
Morning, Jezza. Where to even start? I moved to Saudi Arabia because I've had enough of this Labour government. It's lie after lie after lie. And when Starmer does eventually go in May after the local elections, I dread to think who the replacement is going to be. And it's sad to say it could be even worse. We've got to face facts. People are trying to cover up the cracks here and say that Britain isn't broken, but I'm afraid it is. Please keep up the good work. It's raising these issues to people and bringing it into public's view. My name's Andrew, once of Crowborough, and hope to return to my beloved country one day when this mess is all sorted out.
Good man, and speaks, I think, for many people. 615 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. Let's do it then. I've given it my best shot, Charlie Rowley. Back here, Keir Starmer, or Keith Starlin, as some people, says he takes full responsibility for appointing Mandelson. Kemi's on the front foot, just saying you've told lie after lie after lie. And here's the thing. You were, like a spad, an advisor. If I was having to stand up and say, I'm terribly sorry for giving the job of UK ambassador, the most prestigious diplomatic job, to a man whose best friend was a paedophile, who has blatantly lied, who has been sacked twice for incompetence and money grabbing, and is in fact a revolting human being. If I wanted some sort of mea culpa, I wouldn't personally choose a community centre surrounded by children. This was him yesterday saying sorry.
Let me start where I must start, which is to accept, as I do, that I made a mistake in appointing Peter Mandelson. And let me follow that up swiftly, as I've done before, but I need to do it again, with an apology to the victims of Epstein for appointing Peter Mandelson. It was my mistake, and I take responsibility in relation to it. The release of the information shows what was known. That led to further questions being asked. Unfortunately, because of the Metropolitan Police investigation, we can't release that information yet. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it was me that made the mistake, and it's me that makes the apology to the victims of Epstein, and I do that.
Well, resign then, you duplicitous, useless piece of rubbish. Kitty, good morning. Kitty.
Morning, Jeremy. Kitty from Kent here. I think that the only reason Starmer said he took responsibility for the Mandelson thing yesterday was that one of the many useful idiots in his comms team said to him, if you go and say it was all you and you took responsibility, etc., and you apologise, you will look magnanimous and everyone will think, wow, what strength, what a leader. That's exactly why he did it. He is misguided all the time. He is a complete imbecile and he always gets it wrong, because all we did was look at him with his stupid voice where he sounds like he's swallowing his tongue as he speaks, and think, yeah, we know you're responsible and you can't apologise for something you did deliberately. What a moron. He just gets worse.
Brilliant, what a moron. And I must do this, Charlie, before we go. I must give real credit to a guy on X called Burnside, who used to be in Sunhill in the Bill. No, it's not, it's another one. This is the greatest thing I've ever read. Ready? Apart from giving away the Chagos Islands, recognising Palestine, 13 ministerial resignations, having full confidence in Morgan McSweeney, Peter Mandelson, Sue Gray and Lord Alley, blaming the far right for an island of strangers, 16 policy U-turns, having no operable warships, not smashing the gangs, approving a Chinese embassy, spending 17 seconds laying a wreath in Southport only to rush back to a drinks party, appointing an anti-Muslim hostility czar, raising income tax, inheritance tax, national insurance, capital gains tax, council tax, value-added tax, mansion tax, increasing welfare spending and the minimum wage whilst freezing tax allowances, scrapping jury trials and appointing not a Jewish czar. What has Starmer really achieved apart from bloody breakfast clubs? That is brilliant, by the way. Isn't that spot on?
Well, apart from that, it's all going incredibly well. I mean, they're probably thinking in number 10. But you're absolutely right. What a brilliant tweet that is.
It's just even apologising to the victims
yes,
in a community centre with young children.
Yep.
Doesn't get it, man.
No, exactly. And you would have thought, if you're going to give a heartfelt apology, it needs actually... I know the optics matter. You know, there was a bit of chaos going on in that room, as you'd expect. It's a children's centre. They're all having fun. They're playing. They're doing what the kids do.
I thought all the community centres had been closed. You know, it's extraordinary.
But he should have had the grace, actually, to sort of look down that camera, in broad silence, basically, and apologise and make that apology. In fact, he should have done it in the House of Commons.
I'd have addressed the nation.
Exactly.
I'd have addressed the nation. I'd have done it seriously in a way. I mean, Kemi, front page of the Mail. PM's told lie after lie after lie. Tory leader questions how Starmer can look himself in the mirror and demands a Sleaze probe. Now, this is quite interesting. Demanding a Sleaze probe. This was what did for Boris Johnson, because in the end... they were convinced, this was done with Harriet Harman, I remember all this, that he misled the House. Hasn't Starmer misled the House?
Yes, he has.
Well, then why isn't the... Can I give you another clip? This is brilliant. Not sticking up for Bojo, but watch old Starmer going for Bojo after... But Boris Johnson said, I'm sorry about Partygate, right? He got absolutely stuffed by Starmer, who did exactly the same yesterday. Have a watch.
Well, that apology was pretty worthless, wasn't it? Of course he should resign. He's responsible for the culture. The public have made up their mind. They don't believe a word the Prime Minister says. They know what he is.
And I'm afraid to tell you, Keir, 2 years, 3 years later, they know exactly what you are. The duplicity of this man is beyond my... I can't have it.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And look, I don't want to use the word crime in this sense because I know there's a criminal investigation.
Go viral. Go on.
But, it's always, and people have heard this phrase so many times, it's always the cover-up, most often than not. Boris Johnson tried to get away from the fact that there were parties in Number 10 by saying, well, he didn't view them as parties, or he was advised that there were no parties. He came to the House of Commons and declared, when clearly there were. So it was the cover. If he'd come out and said, you know what, actually, I woke up this morning and was informed that actually there was a riotous affair going on downstairs the day before Prince Philip's funeral. That's disgusting.
It was absolutely abhorrent. I've sacked those people.
They're out.
Mistake. Right?
Exactly. But it was the cover-up of saying there were no parties, and until he then had to come back to the Commons about 3 weeks later, I think, was to say, I've now learned.
But I don't think enough was made of 2 weeks ago when Kemi got it out of Starmer. He went, yes, I did know.
Exactly.
And it was at that point his MPs went, well, he's on television yesterday basically saying, I'm responsible, I lied about that. He surely has misled the Commons and his job is untenable. Listen, everybody says, oh, you don't seem very keen on Starmer. No, because I think he's a duplicitous, talentless, politically inept embarrassment. That's what I think now. And it's becoming, whether it's on the international stage or on the stage at home, the Foreign Office. Officials attending a party. He should have thrown the Iranians out of this country. This bloody march on Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a terrorist hate march. We're going to ban it. No, we can't. Because they're going to stand still. Then pass legislation. You did it with British Steel. Do it in 24 hours and throw these people out of this country. It's wrong.
Well, you're absolutely right. And look, the process can only get you so far within the margins and the sort of the
march is on Sunday. I apologise, not Saturday if you're thinking of attending.
The process can only get you so far when you're in sort of a... But it then comes down to the individual who is sitting in that hot seat as Prime Minister. And with Boris... OK, he was a little bit sort of, not really across the detail, but, we knew that about Boris. But it was the cover-up of Partygate that got him. This is a person, a Prime Minister, that has told us time and time again, he was the former Director of Public Prosecutions, don't you know? He's going to get rid of all the sleaze and scandal that you might have seen in the past. This is a new kind of politics. And yet he has... told us in the Commons that due process was followed when it came to the appointment of Peter Mandelson. We now know it wasn't. He said that he had full confidence, as that tweet said, in Peter Mandelson when we knew that the relationship existed. We knew that there are obviously now concerns by his own National Security Advisor, Jonathan Powell, that said that was a bit rushed or that shouldn't have happened. He has devolved responsibility to his two chiefs of staff who had very close links to Peter Mandelson. Peter Mandelson was given access to the highest of classified information even before undergoing a full vetting process. All of this was going on because the Prime Minister wanted Peter Mandelson. He approved that appointment.
And Charlie, we go round this every day, but it doesn't go away. Why did he want him? How much has Mandelson got on all of them? And I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. How much is he going to squeal on the way down? Because I honestly... You can stand there, Starmer, with your long face, pretending to be, apologetic. Not good enough. Not damn good enough. If it's good enough for Boris Johnson, it's good enough for him, right?
Absolutely. And look, you don't have to look too far now to get the measure of who Peter Mandelson is. Most people, when they get sacked from a job, are just left with the, ringing their ears of the doors that's been slammed behind them. Peter Mandelson wanted £500,000, £500,000 for being sacked.
And that's the other thing, the 75 grand. This is the other thing the Tories have said. If you look at the Mail page 6, they reckon the 75 grand payoff that was given to him tax-free, which is 2 years worth of the average salary in Britain, was a breach of the ministerial code. And yes, I will keep going on about this because it's dual bloody standards, and I'm not sticking up for Boris Johnson. But if you play in the game and you call everybody out, this man should not be in his job. And the only reason he's still Prime Minister of this country is because nobody, it's a bit like the Spurs job, nobody in the Labour Party wants to take this on before May the 7th. I think he should be fired. I think it's disgraceful. Lee, what do you think?
Morning, Jesse. Lee in his van. From Scarborough, veteran, Starmer. Oh, I apologise. Oh, really? What is this country coming to? Seriously, Jezza, I just want to leave. This country is going to hell in a handcart. I've got a 7-year-old daughter who I'm seriously worried for the future. This is getting worse and worse by the day. Thanks, Jezza. Keep it up. Great show.
Welcome to Down the Local, the show that goes from pub to pub across the country, speaking to the punters about the subjects driving us all nuts at the moment.
That's Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves, Rachel McCounts.
I don't really know Meghan Markle. I know Meghan Markle's from Suits, that's about it.
I don't know about anyone else, and I don't know where this is going. I have 0% beers, and I feel
raising the flag, I think, is symptomatic of its desperation.
Is public transport good value for money?
No, it isn't.
You really don't like speaking to people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 6:27. We're live across the United Kingdom. This is Jeremy Callan Talk. Breakfast, the home of common sense and of the alarm clock. Brit, morning, Sean.
Morning, Jeremy. Sean from Leicester, having a really rare midweek or end of week day off. I've got a 3-hour drive down to the Tank Museum in Bovington, so you're going to be keeping me company. So please, please, please try not to get me in a bad mood before I get there. Enjoying the show as always. Thanks very much, buddy. Have a great day.
Charlie, can I just point out, well done, Sean. Keep those voice notes coming. 0344 499 1000. Sean's off to the Tank Museum in Bovington. There's more chance of him seeing a tank in that museum than there is of seeing a boat in the bleeding river or the sea or a tank on land. We're a joke, we're a laugh. Honestly, Roger from Wales, this is really interesting, Charlie. So our British soldiers are under attack by the very people that this standstill protest is celebrating on Sunday in London. Traitorous Mahmood. I agree. Morning, Jez. Elaine in Bracknell. You can help me with this, Charlie. You're a legend. I need the phrase kamikaze suicide drone explained to me. I'm probably a bit thick for not understanding. Do we know what that means?
I think a kamikaze. Well, I think it's just a drone.
You don't, do you? You've got no idea.
I think if I'm reaching at the back of my mind, I think it's isn't just a rogue drone that's sort of.
But suicide drones would be somebody who walks in. I don't know. If you know what a suicide drone is, let us know. Jan in Newcastle, Jez, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm as mad as you with that absolute liar, Starmer. Don't forget, as he lied in the House of Commons, he was shaking. Do you remember seeing his hands shaking? And everybody said that. Claire, funny how Labour are appalled by Epstein crimes, but not really bothered by the grooming gangs here in the United Kingdom. Wonder why? Which party runs the councils where most of these crimes happen? I couldn't agree with him more. We've had Maggie Oliver on this show every week, and we will continue to support what I consider to be one of the biggest stains on our country. Nathan's in Perth. Do you know where Perth is?
Wales, isn't it?
Oh my God! It's in Scotland,
New South Wales.
Yeah, but that's
Australia. In Australia. That's where I'm.
Are you from?
Hoping to go at some stage to see the lovely people of New South Wales.
Are you?
Perth. Well, I think it's a nice.
He's just trying to get. What's he on this morning?
I think it's a nice area.
Nice, Charlie, Chaz. Oh, you know, Chaz. What, Chaz? Not so. Have a word. Members of the Home Office attended a party in London celebrating the Iranian establishment 2 weeks ago. This is nuts, and he's right. Britt, Michael, an alarm clock. Britt, morning, guys. This protest. Will the police put an order out to ban face coverings so they can be filmed and identified? He is, of course, talking about the march on Sunday, the Al-Quds Day rally in London. This is a hate march. This is a bunch of people who will be spouting very, very aggressive things. Now, there are people who go, well, you know, freedom of speech. Absolutely. We should have freedom of speech, but there must be a line. And when I see people from another regime backing up atrocities and terrorism across the country, and I see a lone man with a Union Jack being told by 6 coppers to take it down, it infuriates me. So on Monday, Shabana Mahmood said, we're banning it. Yesterday, she said they got round that because they're not going to march, they're going to stand still, which is in itself ludicrous because they can still spout. Apparently, the police will use the River Thames to separate protesters and counter-protesters, we hear overnight. A static protest will take place, and using the Thames could be the answer. Throw the buggers in.
Yes, well, I'm not entirely sure how the Thames will. I mean, it's usually a bridge that sort of separates two.
Well
so I mean, I'm not quite sure what the Thames is going to do. But you're absolutely right. The biggest and frustrating irony about this whole thing is that, you know, yes, we do have freedom of speech in this country. That is brilliant. But the irony is you've got people that's supporting a regime that has completely opposed free speech, that oppresses people's views. And the idea that you will have people, and it does tend to be people on the left, who are always supporting or propagating the people who want to do us harm, that don't believe inequality. Absolutely. They don't believe in even rights for women. But yet these are the people on the left who supposedly advocate all of this and want to see, in inverted commas, progress, are the very people who are allowing a protest to take place to support a regime that goes against everything that they supposedly stand
I completely agree with you. And by the way, if the other thing about these people who come from these other countries, and I'm sorry to say this, they leave these countries because they hate the very things that you go on about, and then they come here and criticise us and take advantage and blow smoke. I don't understand it. This is Shabana. This was a few days ago, and she actually stood up and said, I'm going to ban the march. Ever watch, ever listen.
Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Mark Rowley, has requested a prohibition on processions relating to Al-Quds Day under Section 13 of the Public Order Act. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have consented to that request, placing a ban on these processions for both protesters and counter-protesters that will now last for a month. This is the first ban since 2012.
No, that didn't last long, did it?
No.
Is it not ridiculous? What does it say about this country? All the alarm clock Brits that are listening right now, if you get told you can't do something, all you have to do is stand still and you can do it. How bloody ludicrous is this country? Sorry.
No, absolutely right. And this, again, goes to the heart of the politics and the problem with politics we have in this country in terms of the people and the personnel. Now, Shabana Mahmood, probably rightly, what she was just saying, she would have had advice probably across her desk to say, Home Secretary, yes, you can ban a march if people are moving, but actually you can't ban a group of people standing there.
I ban them as well. I've got a majority government. I'm banning them. I'm throwing them out of this. What is wrong with these people?
Exactly. And she would have had probably a plethora of officials that came marching in to say, Home Secretary, you can't do this. There'll be a legal process. There'll be a judicial review. It'll be incredibly costly to the taxpayer. You just let them stand there for terror. No. As a Home Secretary, at some point you've got to, or a Prime Minister, you've got to be able to say, no, I'm the Home Secretary, I'm the Prime Minister, I'm doing the politics, thank you very much. You're here to advise, you've advised me, I can see that very clearly. But you know what, if it goes to a judicial review, if someone wants to take us to court, fine. But that protest is not taking place. We are in charge here.
The will of a politician is sadly lacking in so many instances as these civil servants. I would be thinking, what's right for this country? And I don't care if you want to take me to court, and frankly, I don't care the outcome, but I'm going to do what's right. They don't do that. Can we, in a sea of misery, Alarm Clock Britain, can we salute a judge? A common sense judge. This story on page 4 of the Mail is enough to make me even more angry this morning. Two asylum seekers were jailed yesterday for running a county lines drug network from the migrant hotel in Bournemouth that you, my friend, are paying for. So they've broken in illegally. We've put them in a hotel. They're running a drugs deal. They're making thousands of pounds. Do we know the name of the judge? I'll find me the name of the judge. I want the name of the judge. I can't find it. But anyway, Mohammed Dawood and Syed Abdul Khalik, they've been using the Roundhouse Hotel in Bournemouth. Judge Susan Evans. Susan, this woman deserves a medal. Do you know what she said? I very much hope you'll be deported because your presence in my country is not conducive to the public good. How fantastic to hear a judge say that.
Quite right.
Well done, Susan Evans.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, it's not difficult. People have just got to be upfront and see the facts that are just plainly in front of them. That people that come over in a small boat, that enter the country illegally, they are not all asylum seekers. They are not, I'm afraid, all in need or seeking refuge. There are some people that are chancing their arm, that are getting into the country. They know what light touch that the UK is because of the benefits that could be provided, because of the hotel accommodation that they'll be put up in. Oh, and by the way, we were talking about this last week, weren't we? I think if you come into the country illegally, you could be given 40k just to leave.
We did this yesterday. Migrant monopoly. In you come. How are you, Charlie? I know you. Well, I'm not very good. Right. Well, we'll give you. How's your wife, kids? We'll put you in a hotel. We'll look after you. But do you know what, Charlie? I'm getting a bit of crap from it. Could you go back to your country that you hate? There's 40 grand. Very much thank you. Well, go back to your country that you hate. Deposit the money in a bank that we'll never see again. Don't pass go. Collect 40 grand and come back on another boat. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Escorted and waved off by the French, no doubt. In order to.
I promised today I wouldn't be angry, but it's impossible not to be. Fantastic, though. Thanks to that judge.
Well, exactly, and that should be, an example to her colleagues who, when they have these cases before them where people are trying to block either their own deportation or trying to claim that they're, as I say, they're of a particular age. They might be a minor, unaccompanied minor, but they've got a beard longer than mine. It's that
11.
11. Yeah.
Can we say to Rob from Newcastle, my good mate, goodbye? He's off. He's off for a couple of days, and he says goodbye. You're in charge till I come back. Good man, Rob. Have a good time. 24 minutes to 7. In a sea of a prime minister that lies, in a sea of World War III on the brink, on the sea of the Foreign Office officials having a party with Iran whilst Iran's doing all that it's doing. We've got marches that aren't allowed to be banned. We've got asylum seekers running drug cartels from hotels. Yesterday there was, for many, a bright moment in the House of Commons. Just listen to the words. Hannah Spencer, do you remember her from Gorton and Denton, the old green one? So she stood up and made her maiden speech. Now, I haven't heard about this, but I've heard that she talks about trans issues, the Muslim vote and Gaza. Not a mention of tree hugging. Morning, Hannah.
To my trans siblings who get blamed for everything. To the Muslims everywhere who are constantly and often violently scapegoated. I want to put Gorton and Denton on the map by championing the positives about our community. The spirit, the warmth, the grit, and the way that we help each other out every single day. Whether that's our neighbours where we live or our siblings in places like Afghanistan, Gaza, Sudan, Iran, wherever we are, we deserve to live freely as the human beings that we all are.
Yes.
Well, I think the silence says it.
I actually, something went through my head that could get me fired. I'm wondering whether she's going to make an appointment with Polanski. Did you hear that yesterday?
Polanski.
Did you hear that thing from BBC Humberside?
No.
Apparently he admitted 10 years ago that he made a woman's breast grow by 4 inches.
Oh, yes, well, yes,
and we spent the entire show saying, is that 4 inches on one side, so 8 in total? Because surely one would fall over. Is it split? Hannah's... All I would say is nothing against her personally. The Greens don't even talk about green issues. She has a right to say whatever, and she won that election fairly and squarely. But I do wish people would look a little bit more closely at what the Greens are actually offering, because it's a farcical joke, mate. Legalising heroin. I completely understand that you are, she as a person and they as a party concentrate on certain things to get elected. But there's more than the Muslim vote in this country that matters. There is more than Gaza that matters in this country. I don't hear her say anything about the rape gangs. Why aren't the Green Party from that area calling for a rape gang inquiry? Not a word. Why not? I wonder why.
Well, exactly. And that is the divide that we have in this country now, and that is the problem. You will have you're right. I mean, Hannah Spencer, fair play to her, she won that election.
She won the election,
and she could be a brilliant campaigner, and she could be a great advocate for her local constituency. Let's see. But what she was saying in that maiden speech wasn't, you're right, talking about maybe the boarded up shops in Gorton and Denton that need supporting local businesses. It wasn't about the education system or the transport system or the healthcare system that everybody can use in Gorton and Denton.
It's about Gaza.
It's about Gaza, and it's about
which is of course a concern to everybody. But it's about priorities. Can we go to the break with Bill in Cheshire? Bill's brilliant. Listen to this. He says, go easy on Starmer, you two. He may be suffering from selective amnesia or chronic indecision syndrome, or even worse. Let's look at the evidence. A and 1, he forgot about Jimmy Savile. B and 2, he's never heard anything about Muslim rape gangs. C, 3, he's forgot about promising waspy women something. 4, he doesn't remember anyone called Mandelson. 5, he didn't know all the freebies from some alley bloke. 6, he doesn't remember promising anything in his manifesto. 7, he does remember that his father's a toolmaker. But the most important thing is, yes, he's invented a breakfast club that's no use to any bugger. That is how people think about him.
Well, it is. And this is now obviously, the second, but there'll be loads of people who writing in with these lists. And this is what is sticking with the general public. What list can you draw up, or can anyone draw up, of the positives of this government?
I could do it. All right, here's a good thing. Let's do this. It's Friday the 13th. I want a list of 5 things that Starmer's done well. It's not going to work, is it? 87222. All right, a list of 3 things. 3 things that Starmer's done. All right, a list of 1 thing that Starmer's done well. Well, just don't bloody text then. Morning, Boz.
Morning, JK and the breakfast team. Travelling Boz here. So there's Starmer giving out this guilty that he took the blame and it was all his fault, obviously surrounded by younger children. And by the looks of it, some of them wanted to leave the room as well, because he just doesn't command an audience at all.
Across the UK. On DAB+. On YouTube. On your mobile. And on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. What is it? 17 minutes to 7 o'clock. We're live across the UK. This is Talk Breakfast. My name's Jeremy Khan. In a second, the editor-at-large has flown in from the United States of America. Harry Cole, the racing gear is on. This is going to be fantastic. Look at him there in the morning. Wow! Morning, Matt. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Jeremy and Charlie. Matt in Hove here. Now, what I don't understand is nobody seems to be asking Labour MPs in the media or Labour commentators a very simple question about Starmer and Mandelson. If somebody came to you for a job and you were thinking of hiring them and they told you or you found out they were friends with a convicted paedophile, what would your next move be? Would your next move be, I'm going to ask him a few questions and then wait for his answers before I decide to hire him? And what questions and answers could that person possibly give you that make you forget about the paedophile bit?
Listen, I can only say a very good morning to Harry Cole, and I'm going to throw that straight at you, because Charlie and I have been going around in circles for weeks. If he stood up quite rightly and had a go at Boris Johnson 4 years ago and said, you've misled Parliament, there is absolutely no doubt now, is there, that our Prime Minister has lied to Parliament and that an ethics committee probe should find out and the guy should fall on his sword. I know you want to go to Cheltenham on the vomit bus in 45 minutes, but you need to concentrate on this for now.
Sorry, Jeremy, I think there's been a catastrophic misunderstanding. I thought I was here to read the odds.
Oh, really? What? No, I've got Harry Redknapp for that later.
Oh,
yeah, sorry, I've got Harry Redknapp.
It's a big day for Harry.
It is a big day. We'll talk Gold Cup later.
Let's get the business end of this conversation. Yeah, look, I mean, call me old-fashioned, but lying to Parliament used to be a hanging offence, right?
Yep.
He says that all proper procedure had been followed. No, it hasn't. Your own National Security Advisor, eminent, respected, if a little left-wing, Jonathan Powell, says this feels a little rushed, so that doesn't feel right. He said that normal process had been followed. That doesn't seem right, because he was being briefed without his intelligence clearing. It was so clear that was obvious happened is the Prime Minister made a decision, and then the machine just fell in behind that. That's fine. I mean, that's okay. That's kind of how power works. If you're the Prime Minister, you go, look, you, the blob, get out of my way. I've made the decision. But when that decision goes wrong, it's on you. And exactly like Boris Johnson in the fact that he said, I was misinformed, or I didn't have all the facts in front of me. And so when I said X, Y, Z to Parliament, it was another thing. They hung him for that. They literally hung him for that. There was weeks and months of inquiries. The very same Labour MPs are out on the airwaves day in, day out today, were in histrionics about the whole thing. It was all a complete, fast, big old political witch hunt. And lo and behold, now the crows have come home to roost. Who was leading that charge on Boris Johnson? Sir Keir Starmer.
But here's my question.
Rules.
Charlie,
rules.
I know, we were saying it earlier. What I can't get head straight in my head, right, is, and you know far more than me, right, but what must he have on them all? The guy just said on his voice note, Matt, how in the name of God does anybody make a decision that ludicrous? Come on.
I think they're so I don't know, they're so inept and, they're so in fear. Labour have got a sort of long lingering fear of being in government because they're pretty crap at it. Apart from Tony Blair, they come into power, they explode. Tony Blair was the only one that ever managed to win 2 elections in a row, and then 3 in a row.
Agree with it or not?
And he had some very good people around him. Jonathan Powell, another one they brought back to come and help them with this one, and Peter Mandelson, love him or loathe him. Even Gordon Brown at his darkest hour called for sent for PD, and it's exactly what's happened there. Morgan McSweeney was clearly a very close ally of his. Matthew Doyle, who was then the director of communications, was clearly in awe of him. He said, if you read the files, he says, look, yeah, this guy's a close personal friend of mine. I've known him for 20 years. They're all sort of Peter protégés.
Do you think he'll squeal when he goes down? Seriously?
Well, I mean, the police are investigating a clear. There's obviously a prima facie evidence of a paper trail, so I don't want to get in front of that because stranger things have happened in politics and people have got away with things. But the third,
he says he's innocent. I give you that. If he goes down, do you think he'll squeal like a pig?
I'd love to read his next book. Yeah.
It's true, Charlie, isn't it?
Well, it is. And look, Harry's right. With Boris Johnson, we talked about it before. It was the cover-up, and the Prime Minister came to the House of Commons, told MPs that due process has been followed. He told us that actually, he was lied to by Peter Mandelson, almost as if Keir Starmer was the victim.
Exactly.
Now he's had to reverse ferret and say to the country, "It's on me. I'm sorry," to try and take the heat out of the situation.
Exactly. But he initially said, "I was deceived," and then you see the charge sheet in that original document, and there's a big box at the bottom that says, "Prime Minister, would you like to say anything here?" And the shirtless, empty, hollow suit man said nothing.
And also, it's desperation. This Labour government have not done what they wanted to do in the last 18, 20 months that they've been in power, whatever it is. They're plummeting in the polls. They've got the massive majority, but a loveless landslide, and they've gone for the the lever that says, right, we need to bring back Peter Mandelson.
I was saying,
how desperate could they be to bring back someone that's been sacked?
Harry, I was saying it's a bit like the Spurs job. Genuinely, nobody wants it before the end of those elections because they know that they can't win that, and that's going to be a disaster. I mean, I reckon he's got 8 weeks left in number 10. I think he's a goner.
Look what happened to Theresa May in 2017. She went early. She nearly lost the country to Jeremy Corbyn. Country knew she was busted flush. The party knew she was busted flush. The media knew she was busted flush. She knew she was busted flush. Hung on for 18 months. Very hard to get rid of a sitting Prime Minister that doesn't want to go.
Is he a busted flush?
Oh, yeah, he's been a busted flush for months. Yeah.
Very true. Sorry, what did you want me to play? He's waving at me. Oh, you'll love this. This is it. I forgot to tell you this. So yesterday he decided to take full responsibility. Yes, and he basically chose to do it at a community centre surrounded by screaming children. That's where he thought it would be a good idea to apologise to the Epstein victims. And then he gets interrupted by a kid. Have a watch, have a listen.
The prices increasing because of Iran and get our arms around that. Then the other thing I'm worried about, I know I'm nearly finished. The other thing I'm worried about is that...
You are nearly finished. Even that selecting that place has right. That's ridiculous, man, isn't it?
I mean, I think that newborn spoke for the nation, right? is that, as the subs used to say when I was sort of going through my copy? They'd say, "Is there much more of this?"
No, you're the editor. Just quickly on the war, a British air base in Iraq under attack overnight. Defence Secretary John Healey saying that the Putin's hidden hands are behind it. A US tanker plane crashing. All of that going on. Just from being in America, Harry Cole saves the worst. Watch it every night. It's fantastic at 10. What's the view in America? Are they supportive of Trump in this or not?
Split. It's a little bit split. Unlike Iraq and Afghanistan, which ultimately became incredibly unpopular wars, there's no initial sort of rah-rah, let's wave the flag. The country's very divided. Trump hasn't given us really... He sort of just did it sort of on a whim, right? Overnight. He just said, "Oh, by the way, we're doing this. Bang, surprise. I've taken out the Ayatollah." And he hasn't made a case and a justification for the war. And the crucial issue is if this drags on, if it's all over in tier medals in a couple of weeks, and they get some sort of pliant regime or a pliant Ayatollah 3.0, wherever it is.
Yeah, the latest one's lost a leg and is in a coma apparently.
Yeah, but he managed to put out a statement today. That was nice, wasn't it? Did you see that? Yeah.
A bit like a Sun journalist over the Cheltenham Festival. Had to put out some copy.
Well, success is its own justification. Yeah. If it all goes well, it'll be fine. If gas prices start to go up, petrol prices as they call them.
Oh, you've gone all stateside, Harry.
Gas prices, as he keeps hammering, saying, look, at the end of the day, petrol in America is dirt cheap. If that starts to go up, he loses one of his biggest selling points in the run-up to the midterms in November. And those midterms are crucial. It's not just because it controls the House and the Senate; it controls Donald Trump's legacy. So he's taking a big old gamble here, and it's not entirely clear whether it's going to pay off.
And just very quickly, we were talking about last week with all the Starmer stuff and the bases and all this stuff, we were talking about the special relationship. Somebody said, I think it was you said to me, the special relationship will survive 2 people, but he wouldn't trust Starmer further than he could throw him now, would he, Trump?
He's made it very clear. He thinks he's a dud, right? And
he's a loser.
He's a loser. Look, yeah, Charlie's right. The special relationship is more than politicians. We've talked about this at length before. It goes far beyond that. In the sky, under the sea, as I always say. In space, in defence, in security, in trade. It is bigger than. The whole point of it is it's bigger than politicians. What's going to be really interesting when the king goes over at the end of.
Will he go though?
Yeah. I think he'll go. I think he has to go now because someone's got to sort this mess out. So.
Interesting, isn't it?
Send for His Majesty.
No, I think Harry's right. I think he's got to go, and you know, Trump loves the king. He loves the royal family.
It would make make a bad situation far worse if now it looked like Starmer was saying, well, he was mean to me.
Sorry, what was that?
He was mean to me. Donald Trump was mean to me, so you can't have my king.
Can I just ask you very quickly, because I want to do horses. The Foreign Office have been seen celebrating on video the Islamic Revolution by attending a party at the Iranian embassy just at the exact moment they massacred 30,000 of their own people. A Foreign Office official said it's a normal part of diplomacy to help protect the UK. Have a drink with a bunch of people who are massacring. Why don't we throw them out?
Probably not a drink, was it?
What's he implying?
Well, they don't drink, do they?
Who don't?
The Iranians.
No. A lethal cocktail of what are you suggesting? That's quite worrying. Now, anybody who's watching on YouTube cannot fail to be impressed by the very gentrified appearance of our editor-at-large, Harold, this morning. So, you didn't meet me for a we because you went out last night. We were going to have a drink, but you're off today to Cheltenham.
I am, indeed.
I was there Tuesday, Wednesday. It's the Gold Cup today, and Harry Redknapp, the legend that is Harry Redknapp, has the favourite, the Jukebox Man.
I'm very nervous about the Jukebox Man going off favourite.
I love Harry, and I will say this to his face. I would love it for racing, but there is
Ben Pauling, the trainer.
Ben Pauling, great guy.
He's had a great week, Ben Pauling.
Well, he had one win yesterday.
Yeah, but it was a good win. And
don't take me on that horse.
Looks like that yard is in good nick.
There's a lady called Rebecca Curtis who trains in Wales and actually trains her horses on the beach. There's a horse called Haiti Couleur, ridden by the champion jockey Sean Bone, who has never had a winner at Cheltenham. It's the 6 to 1/3 favourite. It is raining at Cheltenham this morning. The going has gone from good to soft to soft. This horse likes a marathon. That is your each way better.
Tom Pepper in the Sun has tipped her exactly that horse. And Templegate's on Django Bay. I mean, Templegate's had quite a good week. Pretty good week. A great first day.
Great sun. Great. None of my lot. Do you do horses? No, that didn't sound right. Say that to Charlie Rowley. Do you do horses, Charlie Rowley?
Well, anyway, less said about that. But
do you like
Charlie likes to flutter on the GG, surely.
I was hanging on to your every word there for a second. I've got no idea what you just said. But,
great clip yesterday. Tom Bellamy, who I know very well, won his first race ever as a jockey, and his mum got interviewed.
Oh, he was brilliant, wasn't it?
Watch this. She absolutely dropped him. Watch this.
She did him good.
What a moment for your boy.
What dreams are made of. It's just amazing. Big price, great for the yard, the lasses, everybody, and the mother who has to put up with him on the way home who's gone badly, you know?
You were saying, though, the result of this win might mean that he gets what going forward?
Girlfriend, maybe. Anybody out there? He's a nice lad.
OK, he's a nice lad, says Mum. If you want a boyfriend, Tom Bellamy is available.
That is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, my mum can't do that because she's dead, but that is fantastic, isn't it?
Good for her.
Boys, very quickly, I'm putting you on a pedestal here. What lengths have you gone to get a partner?
You see what I'm wearing?
Why, you're trying to find a young filly at Cheltenham today, are you?
No, just the Jukebox Man. Just the Jukebox Man.
Jukebox Man for you in the Gold Cup. What lengths have you gone to?
Well, you've seen what I'm wearing. Obviously not as well. Not to the length that Harry's going to. But you look very dapper.
Can I just salute Harry? He's about to get on a very professional coach put on by News UK to go down to the racing. He's going to write his column and everything's going to be fantastic. He's not going to drink. He's going to have a few bets and have a nice day. Look at him. No, Jez. The Jukebox Man in the Gold Cup for Harry Cole. Have you got a tip? Brilliant. Nothing from Charlie. 80 Couleur. I promise you, 80 Couleur each way. But Harry Redknapp on this show. Have a great day.
If it's anything like your tips yesterday, we'll all get our threepence back.
He's so old-fashioned, threepence. Charlie, thank you. Harry, thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. Right, almost 7 o'clock. We're live across the UK. Talk Breakfast is on. Sir Ian Duncan Smith on the way. 0344 499 1000 for your voice notes. The news is next. But morning, Adrian.
Morning, Charlie. It's Adrian from East Sussex. Oh, and how's Jeremy, your sidekick? Just a quick one. The new leader of Iran, he is in hospital in a coma with a blown up leg. When they anointed him or whatever it was, a big ceremony, he was meant to have been there, but they ended up doing it over a portrait of him. So it looks like all the high Iranian command are pretty much gone now.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead.
I spoke to you about the situation in the Gulf and explained that the United Kingdom was not involved in the strikes on Iran. That remains the case. The basis of our decision is the collective self-defense of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. That is in accordance with international law, and we are publishing a summary of our legal advice. We are not joining these strikes, but we will continue with our defensive actions in the region.
Mr Farage, would a reform government have allowed US forces to use UK air bases for offensive operations in Iran?
Yes is the answer to your question. I would have said to the Americans, please do use our bases. We will be supportive of you on this.
There were a series of very loud blasts in the area of Dubai that I'm based in. That's in the marina area. It's a very touristy area, actually. Those blasts were the loudest we've heard yet, but equally we are reassured that they are most likely the sound of interception by the UAE's quite sophisticated THAAD interception kit. That is the Terminal High Altitude Area Defence System.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Good morning, welcome back, whatever it is. This is Talk, of course, the home of common sense and the home of alarm clock Brits. Thank you so much indeed for your involvement. As ever, voice notes and calls. Tom is in the building. 0344 499 1000. 0344 499 1000. Text the show. We'll get them on, I promise you. It was busy as hell this morning. 87222. What are you waking up to on suspicious Friday the 13th? Well, more on the Iraq crisis. A British airbase in that territory has come under attack overnight from Iranian drones, and the Defence Secretary Don Healey says that Putin's hands are behind the attack. Also breaking overnight, a US tanker plane has crashed over Iraq with multiple casualties feared. We've had questions this morning about whether if Britain had allowed refuelling bases to use, would that have made a difference? So much to talk about, and that terrible story if you are waking up. Whilst all of this is going on, an undercover investigation by the Daily Telegraph found at the Foreign Office there was a party a few weeks ago at the Iranian embassy that Foreign Office officials appeared at, were having a wonderful time. There was a song commemorating the Ayatollah Khomeini before he was killed. This was on the same day, by the way, that they massacred 30,000 of their own people. What in the name of God are British diplomats doing in the Iranian embassy, enjoying themselves? Surely we should throw the Iranians out of this country. Also in the news, you're waking up, finally he's done it. Keir Starmer took full responsibility yesterday for employing Mandelson. Kemi Badenoch calling him a liar, full stop. And do you know what his comms team thought would be a good place to announce his apology to the Epstein victims? A community centre surrounded by screaming children. The man is a joke. Morning, Sean.
Morning, Jeremy. Sean from Grimsby here. Now that our bases are under attack again and we failed to do anything last time, maybe they thought they could do it again. How about this time we actually defend ourselves? You know, just a thought. Great show, mate.
Thank you very much indeed. Keep those calls coming. 0344 499 1000. Stand by, Sammy. We've got some breaking news. I don't know how to say it to you. We're not playing the breaking news thing. You can do it now if you want. It's fine. If you don't, I don't care. Just in case you were feeling slightly depressed. Oh, there it is. If you were feeling slightly depressed about your life, it's okay. I'm going to make it worse. Here's the surprise. The UK economy recorded zero growth in January. The Office for National Statistics has just announced. So our economy is not growing. We can't get a ship to Cyprus, although a landlocked country in Luxembourg can. And yesterday we discovered that 2 asylum seekers have been running a drugs empire from the Roundhouse Hotel in Bournemouth. 0344 499 1000. On the day I need to be tight with everything, Sir Ian Duncan Smith's technology isn't working. We'll get to him, I promise you. Morning, Jess, is Alan Torquay. Don't mean to be awkward, but I know Russia could be helping Iran attack British bases, but aren't we helping Ukraine attack Russian bases and refineries with storm shadows? You're absolutely right. Christina, hello. Now we're being attacked by drones in Iran, and meanwhile Starmer is allowing our veterans to be prosecuted. What incentive and message does that send to the British people and the armed forces? Completely agree. Michael, good morning. The Foreign Office staff who attended the party at the Iranian embassy must be exposed. This is a sign of how the elite are detached from reality and see it all as a game. Let's go to Crawley. Very quick call while we sort out Sir Ian. Sarah, good morning.
Hello, Jeremy. Thanks for a great show. I just want to say that during the Second World War, my mum said that all the Italians and Germans in this country were rounded up and put in internment camps. Well, we've got an ideal opportunity with this static march thing. Round them all up, but don't put them in internment camps. Deport the lot of them because they're a threat to the country.
What do you say to people? And I want to ask you this because I get people stopping me now in the street saying all sorts of stuff, right, about this show. What do you say to the people? I mean, like Hannah Spencer made a maiden speech yesterday, didn't she, in the Commons, the Green MP? Not a mention of a Green thing, just talks incessantly about Gaza and the Muslim vote. What do you say to the people that saying deport these people is racist?
No, absolutely not. We're protecting our country. We're protecting our green and pleasant land. I mean, look what happened with the Manchester bombs. That poor child that put that scratch on the Quran and he was suspended. It's getting out of hand. It's not racist. I've got Muslim friends who are moderate Muslims who send Christmas cards. They're as disgusted as I am. They actually make me sound like a loony lefty. We're all fed up. It's Islamic extremists that Starmer's just pandering to, not normal people. I mean, that poor restaurateur that has stuff thrown at him because of he doesn't sell halal meat. What are the police doing about that harassment? Now, if it was a restaurant that said only halal meat served and non-halal people started complaining, we'd all be arrested.
Sarah, I couldn't agree more. I have to go. I don't mean that badly, but thank you. Thank you for support. Thank you for your comments. Sarah in Crawley, 0344 499 1000. I've got a busy hour. Sir Ian Duncan Smith, former Conservative Party leader. A very good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm fine, thanks very much indeed. Yes.
I'm sorry for the technical stuff. We've got a few minutes. A British air base in Iraq overnight under attack from Iranian drones. Our Defence Secretary Ian John Healey saying that Putin's hidden hands are behind the attack. It's about time, is it not, that our government started to take seriously our involvement or the impact on this country?
Yeah, absolutely indeed. The reality that we know now is Putin is very involved in this. We're absolutely certain he's shipping equipment, drones, etc., to Iran to keep them in the fight. And that is, of course, also damaging the oil supply, which means that his prices go up, which means he benefits ultimately as a result of being able to get more money for his oil and thus sustain his war on Ukraine. So the whole thing has got him and the others involved. And the question really to what degree we can carry on behaving like this. We should have seized his money by now, which is over 300 billion, to make sure that we actually gave that money to Ukraine to be able to mount the war that they have to in defence, getting the right sort of missiles, etc., and equipment to be able to stop the Russian brutal war.
Ian, your experience, you were a party leader, Conservatives, you'd have been involved in classified information. Do you think, in your experience, that this situation is going to get bigger and bigger and more countries are going to be becoming involved? We've heard in the last couple of days Trump sort of saying it's one. People are saying the Iranians are actually getting equipment from Russia. They want everybody dragged in. Where do you see this going?
Well, it's... The Americans started this on the basis that they would be able to knock out the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, who are a brutal group. They're the ones that are probably, I always describe them as the SS of the Iranian government. They are the brutal enforcers. And the key to this is, I don't think America can cease this now until they have crushed the IRGC's ability to make war and also to suppress their own population. If they pull out any time before that, then this whole thing, I think, will have been a terrible waste. But if they succeed in doing that, and they say they can, then what they will allow is therefore both changes in government to take place in there and no longer be suppressed, but also, more importantly, to finally get rid of a terrible threat to Western interests. Look at the way they're behaving over the Strait of Hormuz, trying to make sure that the oil prices go up, deliberately attacking countries that hadn't been directly involved in any of this. This is literally a state that is an absolute a terrible threat to the whole of the Western alliance, and I think we have to make sure that America does its job and doesn't get out before then.
Lots of things to ask you about yesterday. Prime Minister Starmer finally taking full responsibility for appointing Mandelson. Your leader, Kemi Badenoch, saying that he's lied and lied and lied. You've done this. I don't know whether I'm missing the point. I can't believe his comms people are so stupid and thick. You put your Prime Minister to apologise to victims of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal in a community centre surrounded by screaming children again, and he looks so awkward. But I ask you this seriously. Boris Johnson was brought down because it was proven that he'd misled the House. Is it not fair to say that our own Prime Minister has done exactly the same, and the same fate should befall him, Ian?
Well, Kemi's made that absolutely clear, and I agree with her, Kemi Badenoch. She's made it very clear that he has not told the truth. And the reality is, if you go back to his statement to the House on the 10th of September, where he says that he was essentially, they'd carried out the right checks, he never went any further, because he would have known at that stage that the man, because you can see it in the documents, that he was already made aware that this man had carried out appalling engagements with Epstein, and that Mandelson should not have been appointed. His own side, even his own side, were saying this is a mistake too, and the civil service were doing as well. But he went ahead with it.
Why? Any idea why? On a serious note, you led a party. Why would you make a decision that my 2-year-old wouldn't make? It only says to me, and people say, oh, Jez, you can't say that. I don't know how much Mandelson's got on all of them, but there can be no common sense in making Mandelson the US ambassador from the UK. There can't be.
No, there never was. In fact, you didn't even need these checks to take place to know that this is a man whose attraction to money and people with money has become dodgy and dangerous. You know, there's all this stuff now to come out yet about his arrangement with the people that they represented in the company that he set up after he left government, which you can argue was a lobbying company or was certainly an advisory company. But these are some very dodgy people and some very dodgy money, and heavily involved in Chinese money as well. And we've seen what China is doing in spying in the UK endlessly. All of these, but then add to that the fact that twice he has to be got rid of from government, from senior positions, because he is deeply unreliable. And Mandelson's then arrival in this government was an utter disaster, and that was down solely to one person. Well, actually, not one person, but some people around him who also agreed, and his chief of staff and others, his communications director, who lately got a peerage after that, who then had to be kicked out of the House of Lords for his involvement with supporting a paedophile. You couldn't make this up. No. And McSweeney was the one that he left, and his communications director. He left those two to do the final questioning, which is an absolute absurdity. He should have either accepted the advice or he should have questioned directly himself, but he still bears responsibility for his failure, and this is a disaster. He's done it, there's no question, because he was determined to get him.
Do you know what's really interesting? And we haven't got much time, and I wish I had more.
No,
I mean, it's not. It's not even a case of saying, "Is this the end of him?" Everybody knows he's a dead man walking. But I am really strong on this. I was very supportive of Johnson and very angry with Boris Johnson in the end. The same has to apply. I've got a clip that I won't play now, but in 2022, the man's a liar. He needs to come to the House. He needs to be sacked. He needs to resign. Exactly the same thing should befall Keir Starmer if there is any justice in this political system, shouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, you cannot essentially mislead the House. That is something which is the ultimate for a member of Parliament: mislead the House, not to tell them the truth of the House about something that has happened. You know, you have to look at previous defence secretaries and others that have been kicked out. All of this happens. Now, the baying and the crying at the time of Boris Johnson was unbelievable from the left, from the Labour Party at the time, shouting, screaming, attacking him personally, all this sort of stuff, and he went. So that's what happens. But this time round, there's silence from the massed ranks of the Labour Party. You have a huge majority, bigger than anything that we've had, and they have gone completely quiet. So he stumbles on because they are allowing him to stumble on, but it's doing Britain no good, and it's doing the reputation of Parliament no good. The other night, for example, they did some stupid, childish things to delay a vote, literally like sitting in the chamber. You know, this is the Labour chief whip and others, and not coming out in the hope that we'd go past 7 o'clock, whereupon the vote wouldn't count and they could be deferred to some other. I mean, you can't make this up. The Speaker's on apoplectic. This is what we've got in government now. A government made up of angry people when it suits them, but people who aren't loyal to their country in terms of doing what is necessary. He should not be there.
Listen, great. Sorry it's shorter this morning. A busy hour, and sorry for the technical stuff, but it's always fantastic to have you on. Sir Ian Duncan-Smith, former Conservative Party leader, 7:15. We're live across the UK on Talk Breakfast. Still to come this hour, Rear Admiral Chris Parry will explain about the Straits of Hormuz and how important that shipping lane is for international trade, us in this country. James Cleverly is on the show, former Foreign Secretary in the Conservative government. Morning, Malcolm.
Hi, Jezza. Hope you're well, mate, and the team. Reference your list of Starmer's 3 things that he's done really well. I've sort of been thinking about it, and yeah, that he did. Well, okay, yeah, but he did the. No, there's none, is there? Okay, get him out.
conflict breaks out anywhere in the world, it has consequences here at home. Talk War is your definitive national security briefing. From the conflict in Ukraine to the tensions in Gaza and the latest escalation with Iran, this is where you'll find comprehensive comment and expert analysis with multiple updates throughout the day. The Talk War podcast from Talk, available on the Talk app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 7:20. We're live across the UK. Rear Admiral Chris Parry, and just a tick, I jokingly said for Friday the 13th, let's just three things that Starmer's done, you know, that's good. Graham Pack, you've been very beastly to Starmer, Jez. He can't help being a tool. His father did make him great. Keith, good morning. He says, Keith, normally of Wolverhampton, but now in Gran Canaria, 25 degrees and very sunny, you git. Starmer's done well list, lied. shafted Lucy Connolly, lied, avoided grooming gang inquiry, lied. I'm not doing number 5 because I'll get into trouble. Something about Ukrainian... No, let's say that. Lord Damon from... Anyway, list of 5 things Starmer has done. Put one community above the rest of Britain. Caused more divide than any Prime Minister. Makes more mistakes than anyone in Britain. More U-turns than a motor school. And has made us a complete bloody laughing stock. Jez Starmer, this is brilliant. Jez Starmer says Ian in Essex. Ministerial responsibility, he has to resign. No ifs, no buts. And Angus, quickly, 3 things he does well. He dresses well, he gets over jet lag well, and he lies well. I'd agree with the third one, but not the other 2. Let's go live to a good friend of mine, former NATO Commander Rear Admiral Chris Parry. Welcome to Talk Breakfast, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jeremy. How are you?
Not bad. Busy old show today. Just an update, and I wanted to talk specifically from a naval point of view, but just an update overnight from Iran. A British airbase coming under attack from Iranian drones. The Defence Secretary, Chris, John Healey, saying that Putin's hidden hands are behind the attack, which, if true, changes the whole dynamic, doesn't it?
Well, it depends how you see Russian involvement. I think Russian involvement is probably relating to surveillance and targeting. So they probably pinpointed the targets for the Iranians. Very difficult to prove that, of course. The attack was in Iraq, so there could be all sorts of local intelligence as well. And I think this is going to be part of a pattern over the next week or so. What's happened is the Iranian command and control has collapsed completely. And you're seeing local commanders taking things into their own hands and launching their missiles and also their drones at targets that they think they want to hit.
It's really interesting when you talk about that centralised decision-making. The new Ayatollah, Muqtada, the son of the late Al-Khamenei, he warns, which is really weird because papers are saying that he's in a coma, he's lost a leg, and yet he warned of wrath and awe yesterday in an address, and one does wonder as to the fragmentation of the group. You're saying as a military man you'd think this is all sorts of people playing around here, right?
Yeah, I think the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, what's left of them, is probably taking charge here. There's a big clan called the Larijani clan. It strikes me that they're in charge, if they are in charge at all. There's no doubt that anybody they put up as a front man is a target. And I think probably there isn't a long list of volunteers to do the job right now.
A couple of things I wanted to ask you, if I can. The Straits of Hormuz, a lot of people will know this, others won't, is a central part of the waterway for trade and goods to come into the West, and this is a major playing field, probably the wrong way to describe it at the moment. The Iranians are saying they're blocking it, America and other countries getting involved to clear the way. That's a massive, massive part of this, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, we have to consider that 25% of the world's trade goes to the Straits of Hormuz. It's one of many choke points in the world, like the Malacca Straits, English Channel, Straits of Gibraltar, Suez Canal, and we've seen what happened in the Red Sea. I think what we're going to see is we'll see a multinational effort to escort and protect shipping going through the Straits. It's well within the capability of the United States and allied navies to do that. I think the most likely way of blocking the Straits would have been to mine it. That's what I would have done. But the Americans have done a good job of taking out quite a lot of the mine stocks and also the specialist vessels that would do that. However, having said that, Jeremy, you can lay mines from dhows, cabin cruisers, anything that you can push over the side, basically. So they're going to have to look out for that. But by and large, I think it's well within the capacity, and it will have been planned, to tell you the truth. Back in the 1980s, during the Iran-Iraq War, the United States reflagged all the oil tankers and gas tankers and actually escorted them through. So I think that's going to happen again very soon, to tell you the truth.
NATO Commander, Rear Admiral, I want to ask you this. You're a mate of mine. HMS dragging your feet, as I call it. I mean, I couldn't being more beyond embarrassment than I was last week when I was told that Luxembourg, a landlocked country, had got a ship to the Gulf or wherever it is to support the people in Cyprus before us. We're a laughingstock. Any news on whether HMS Dragon's getting there, for Christ's sake?
Yeah, it's on its way, Jeremy, but I'm afraid to say this is all down to political direction. Yeah. I said yesterday in a presentation, there's a high level of strategic illiteracy in this government, and unless they actually get their political military objectives together and they actually sequence our military power to actually help our interests and our citizens, then it's always going to be like this, and it will be embarrassing. There's no doubt about that.
Somebody told me last week that it was given 5 days to be made ready, but at 5 o'clock on the Friday at the shipyard in Port Portsmouth, everybody goes home for the weekend. That's a rule, apparently, so they couldn't do anything with it till Monday. I mean, as a naval man, genuinely, and my dad was a naval man, right? Does it not embarrass you when Luxembourg, a landlocked country, can get, or even the French can get there before us?
Well, Jeremy, it doesn't embarrass me because I'm obviously not taking any decisions now. Can I say it wouldn't have happened in my time? On the day Argentina invaded the Falklands, my ship, HMS Antrim, in April 1982 was 95% stocked for war, along with 11 other ships at one day's notice. We topped up to 104%, and we went south 6 hours later. That is the difference between a Navy that I served in and the one that our government is providing to the...
If you were running the Navy right now and you wanted to get that ship, HMS Dragon, out of Portsmouth, and you were, as you said, pulled back by political ideology, what would you do?
I'd resign.
Yeah. For me, it's embarrassing. We've only got a minute. Quick question for you. Where do you see... I know this is difficult, Chris. Where do you see this finishing? Do you see this dragging on, or do you... I mean, you seem to be quite sure that they've fragmented the leadership in Iran.
I think there are three outcomes that are possible right now, Jeremy. Either Iran will actually sort of give in. The IRGC will be made an offer it can't refuse and basically be part of the solution, not part of the problem. There's a second one where the Iranian power isn't broken and they can sort of re-establish themselves, rearm, and they're back in the frame again in, say, a couple of years' time. They continue with their nuclear program. Or indeed, what happens is you quarantine Iran, rather like we do with North Korea, and say, look, we're just going to stop you projecting any sort of power or military capability externally, and they become a pariah state for the next decade or so. Those three options, I think, are on the table. I think the former is possible if they can turn the IRGC.
Mate, it's always great to have you on. I appreciate it so much. I know how busy you are. Thank you so much indeed. Rear Admiral Chris Parry on Talk Breakfast now. What is it, 7:28 if you want to be on. 0344 499 1000 and Sir James Cleverly next on Talk.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. It's exactly 7:30, and when you want James Cleverly on the phone, you have to be on time. So, James, a very good morning. How are you? Welcome to Talk.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I know you're a busy man. We are. We've got 5 minutes. I'm going to get straight to it. Keir Starmer yesterday taking full responsibility, James. Kemi calling him a person who lies and lies. I've got a question for you. We watched the left go mad at Boris Johnson for allegedly misleading Parliament. The same is absolutely to be said about the current Prime Minister, and it is beyond me to think the guy shouldn't resign in disgrace.
I cannot understand why there isn't more outrage about this. I know there's a lot going on. I know there's conflict in the Middle East. We've got Russia invading Ukraine. We've got terrorist incidents. I know that there is a lot of stuff going on in the news at the moment. But we know now we've had it confirmed that Keir Starmer knew that Mandelson had an ongoing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein after his conviction for child sexual offences. He fast-tracked the process. We know this to be true. He ignored warnings. We know this to be true. He appointed Mandelson against advice. We know this to be true. And then he paid Mandelson off when he was fired, even though he was claiming now that Mandelson lied to get the job. And this goes to the heart of the Prime Minister's integrity. It goes to the heart of questions about his judgment. And the fact is that if this was a Conservative Prime Minister, the wider left would be absolutely screaming for his resignation.
Do you think he must face a Sleaze investigation, Joe?
Oh, he absolutely must. He absolutely must. And just to claim that he's apologised, to say, oh, I've taken responsibility, I apologise, everyone should just move on. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. No. He has failed to take responsibility. He has got a track record of throwing all his colleagues under the bus to save his own reputation. We've seen him do that with his political allies. And the fact is the buck has got to stop with him. And enough really is enough.
There are quick questions, because I know you haven't got much time. Are we doing enough to defend British bases? Overnight we heard a British base in Iraq under attack. John Healey, the Defence Secretary, saying Putin's hidden hands are behind the attack. I nearly lost my, I can't use the phrase last week, when I discovered that Luxembourg, a landlocked country, got a ship to Cyprus quicker than us. We're a disgrace internationally, aren't we?
Well, there's some questions about the amount of military equipment that we've got ready for operations. But again, this is ultimately the job of the British government. It is clear that they knew there was a high chance of military operations in the Eastern Mediterranean and in the Gulf months ago. And the political decision should have been made to commit greater troops. And again, once again, we see a distracted government asleep at the wheel, because the Prime Minister was more worried about saving his own skin than defending British troops and British people around the globe.
Have they failed our troops, James? I mean, don't get me on the troubles, Bill. We haven't got time. Have they failed our troops out there?
Over and over again. And this is a pattern of behaviour. If this was a one-off, then perhaps I would be a bit more forgiving. But this is a pattern of behaviour. Too little, too late, indecision, not backing our allies, not backing our friends, not backing our forces, and not backing British people around the globe.
You were Home Secretary. Very quickly, final thing. The police announcing today this Al-Quds rally on Saturday in central London. They'll use the Thames to separate people. I'm all for free speech, but really, I do not understand how on Monday Shabana Mahmood can say, I'm cancelling this march. It's a hate march. It's led by terrorists. It's a complete disgrace. I personally would have thrown the Iranians out of this country, the diplomats. I can't even believe any of it. Now, apparently, James, God, is this government, if they stand still statically, they can spout from their mouths and wave their flags. That's just ludicrous, man, isn't it?
And again, this is the difference between a government trying to talk tough. You've got the Home Secretary saying, oh, I would like to see this march banned. You've got the police saying that they feel it should be banned, and then relenting at the last minute. The signal that this government sends is that if you push, it will U-turn. That if there's a difficult decision, it will avoid it. If it's about potentially offending an electoral base, they will do everything they can to avoid offending an electoral base rather than doing the right thing. And again, it's a pattern of behaviour, and we've all had enough.
James, we got 5 minutes right on time. I'm really grateful. I know you're busy. We love having you on. Thank you so much indeed. As to James Cleverly, Shadow Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government in Kemi's front bench, 25 minutes to 8 o'clock. Now, this is brilliant. This is a lady who, this is completely off the hook, right? This is fantastic. A leading barrister who represented wrongly convicted sub-postmasters has sensationally quit her role overnight after the legal services watchdog in protest against Lammy's tyrannical plans to curb jury trials. This is the most ridiculous thing you could ever hear in your life. This, let's get rid of jury trials, because the thing about this country is surely that a judge can be biased one way or other. To be judged by your peers is what it's all about. We're delighted to have her on the phone. Flora Page, a very good morning. Welcome to Talk Breakfast.
Hello there.
Can you put into words, as a leading barrister, what you make of David Lammy's appalling decision, in my mind? And actually, it was voted through, despite protestations from the Labour backbenches.
Yes, it's really got to be stopped somehow. As you said, the principle of trial by jury is something very deeply seated in this country. And the way that the proposals are sort of trying to hijack victims suffering and pain waiting, as they are, for shocking amounts of time for justice, is just, I'm afraid, as I said in the letter, it's shameful. This has got nothing to do with the waits. Jury trial has not caused these terrible waits in seeking justice, and to try to use that argument is just awful.
And as a KC, Flora, and you said, I read it, that the government would rip the heart out of the rule of law by doing this. You feel strongly enough to literally, right, quit your role. I mean, that you've worked all your life to get to that you feel so passionately about this, right?
Yes, I mean, having a role on the Legal Services Board was very important to me, and I did want to be able to work with the government and uphold the rule of law together. And unfortunately, the way the government, the way that Mr. Lammy put his position across on Tuesday, I just didn't feel that I could work with the government towards upholding the rule of law.
When you heard, I mean, as part of the Legal Services Watchdog, when you heard Lammy make these suggestions, I mean, your first reaction was, I suspect, like many others, a complete confusion. That this doesn't do... I don't even understand, Flora, you're far more intelligent than me. I don't even understand the theory behind it. I don't get it.
No, I really don't either, I'm afraid. It's incomprehensible. As I said, the rationales being put forward for it are just... They do not link up. There's an ancient constitutional principle on the one hand, and then on the other hand, there are delays in the Crown Courts. Delays in the Crown Courts will be solved through other means, not through getting rid of jury trial. It's just not, as you say, it's incomprehensible.
And actually there was a case yesterday which has gathered quite a bit of paper coverage this morning. 2 asylum seekers jailed for running a county lines network drug thing in a migrant hotel in Bournemouth were actually found guilty, and the judge, I think it's Susan Evans, said, I very much hope you will be deported because your presence in this country is not conducive to the public good. I'm not trying to drag you into politics. What I'm trying to say is, I mean, for me that was a good decision, but that's surely an example of how a judge, although wanting to be, you know, if you like, straight down the line, is going to have an opinion. And surely, I mean, I'm 60. I was always told that if your peers from all walks of life are judging you, all walks of life, social grading, whatever that, all those sorts of things, and that fail-safe is at the very base of our democracy.
Of course, absolutely that. There is no better system, there is no better way to judge whether somebody is guilty of a crime or not than to ask 12 ordinary people to consider the evidence. It's the only way that this country has ever done it when it comes to anything serious or important at all. And the government seeks to try to say, well, we're saving jury trial for the most serious cases. But these plans would get rid of jury trial, for example, for all the hundreds of sub-postmasters. Now, most of them, sadly, didn't have a trial because for reasons I won't go into. But, for example, Nicky Arch, one of those who did have a trial and who was acquitted by a jury, has come behind this campaign saying, you know, if it wasn't for the jury, where would I have been?
Yeah.
And these are people whose honesty is absolutely crucial to their life. And of course, they wouldn't have received a huge whacking sentence, but just a conviction alone did ruin their lives.
I listen. Anything that this station and this show can do to support that campaign, I'm as appalled as you are, and I think it takes a lot for you to walk away from the Legal Services Watchdog. And we're delighted to get your side. You've done great work with 3 people that were wrongly convicted by the Post Office, and no doubt you'll be a loss to that organisation. But I think you're right. Somehow we've got to stop David Lammy, haven't we?
I hope so. I hope to stop these proposals. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of campaigners, there's a lot of lawyers, and indeed I think there are a lot of people on the Labour backbenches who will want to try and stop this.
Flora Page, thank you very much indeed. KC, a leading barrister who represented wrongly convicted sub-postmasters, acquit her role as the legal services watchdog in complete protest at Calamity Lammy, saying, let's get rid of juries, that'll end all the problems. No, it will cause more, you numpty. 20 to 8, we're live across the UK. Sunday sees this Al-Quds march. This is hate marches in most people's mind. People who support the Iranian regime spouting and spewing their vile stuff, waving their flags. It was banned on Monday by Shabana Mahmood. Everybody went, good for you, Shabana. On Tuesday, it was reinstated because apparently if you stand still, then you're static and you don't march, that's different. You can still spew your stuff and wave your flag. The voice of reason next. Peter Blacksey next on Talk Breakfast.
Current affairs, international news, letting criminals off while sending... Oi! Oi! You shut up. I'm trying to record something. Stand by for 3 powerhouse hours of breaking news, challenging views. I don't give a flying damn about international law. I think people will viscerally reject this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, almost 7:45. Peter Blexley in just a jiffy. Perry, good morning.
Morning, Jeremy. How dare James Cleverly come on the radio and blame the Labour Party for ruining our armed forces within 2 years of being in power? This has nothing to do with Labour. Labour are only making do with what they've been left by the Conservative Party. Don't get me wrong, I certainly do not support Labour and I can't stand Keir Starmer, but I don't blame him for running our army into the ground and our armed forces into the ground. This was 14 years of Conservatives. Don't let James Cleverly get away with this nonsense.
No, you're absolutely right, and we had 5 minutes to do with that. I've said it from day one. I didn't say it to him, actually. You're quite right there to pull me up. This started with Theresa May. She got rid of the police, and seemingly we've been in governments for 20 years. You thought the easiest way to make cuts during austerity was to get rid of our armed forces. What did somebody tell us the other day? There are 66,000 people have come into this country illegally, which is now more than we have in all the armed forces. I take your point. Thank you so much indeed, Perry. 0344 499 1000. You know this Al-Quds march on Sunday? This just a little bit of detail. Al-Quds Day was created by Khomeini, the one that we killed. Well, America did. After the 1979 revolution, Al-Quds is the Arabic name for Jerusalem. We've got live footage now. The Iranians in Tehran are having a rally to mark Al-Quds Day. That's live pictures from Tehran. So that's basically supporting a terrorist regime that sponsors the killing of people across the globe. And on Sunday, exactly the same is going to happen in London. Now, if you don't know the background, Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, on Monday said, and I quote, well, let's play the clip because, I mean, it's really important. She stood up and she said, we are banning it. And everybody went, hurrah, Shabana.
Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Mark Rowley, has requested a prohibition on processions relating to Al-Quds Day under Section 13 of the Public Order Act. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have consented to that request, placing a ban on these processions for both protesters and counter-protesters that will now last for a month. This is the first ban since 2012.
Well, everybody went to Monday. Tremendous job, Shabana. Well done. Because if you look at the march that's happening right now in Tehran, it's a hate march. There you are, live pictures. Tuesday, though, this is how bad this country is. Apparently, it's still going to go ahead because if you stand still, i.e. you're static, it's not the same under our laws. So you can stand still and spew your stuff like they are right now in Tehran, supporting a tyrannical, terrorist regime, and wave your flag and spew stuff, but if you move, you can get arrested, which just about sums up this country. We say a very good morning to a legend, a man who's out onto a former Met police detective. Good morning, Peter Blexley.
Good morning, Jeremy Kyle.
And I'd like to ask... No, I'm starting as I should start, Peter Blexley. It's my show. How are you celebrating St. Cud's Day on Sunday, Peter?
I'm celebrating the death of the Ayatollah Khamenei. Ding dong, the Ayatollah is dead. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you to the American military. What a great thing they did. Let's hope they can further damage this murderous regime who has spread terrorism around the world, who has butchered and murdered tens of thousands of its own citizens.
Yep.
Let's hope they weaken it to the point where it can no longer function.
But if you look at that march, right now, a rally in Tehran, that is a hate march supporting a regime that sponsors terrorism through the Houthis and Hamas and Al-Qaeda and ISIS and everybody. I've said this until I am blue in the face for all those people who go, oh, yes, this is a good march. Go and talk to the parents whose kids were blown to bits in Manchester. I cannot believe, Pete, and I'm not actually having a go. Well, I am saying to Shabana Mahmood, you've got a bloody majority, use it, bring in a law and get these people off our streets.
And please don't forget Hezbollah, those murderous, revolting, disgusting people. There's two separate laws around marches and static protest. You can ban a march, which Shabana Mahmood has done, but as the law stands at the moment, a static protest cannot be banned because it cuts right to the heart of our right to protest as a nation. So perhaps the parliamentarians need to look at the law and think again and perhaps get such a revolting thing as those that's going to happen on Sunday perhaps banned as well.
It's interesting because you and I both rant and because we're patriots and we care about stuff. I don't understand how a government with a majority that big that could bring in legislation within 24 hours when the British Steel Corporation was on its backside cannot do the same. I don't believe there's a will. I don't believe that we have a government that is prepared to put the British people first. And I just... Let me play you this voice note. This is Jay on the Jewish community facing this march. This is really relevant. Morning, Jay.
Hi, Jeremy. Great show as always. I just want to point out how at the moment do the Jewish community in the UK feel the 250,000 or whatever are still here. Yesterday, over in the States, you had the car that rammed the gates. Luckily, the guy was took out before he could do any damage to civilians at a synagogue. We had the stabbings up in Manchester at the synagogue. Luckily, the terrorist was taken out. I just think to myself, with all these marches and hate and everything going on, how do they feel? You know, they've really had to up their security. They have to watch over their shoulder where they walk. This is it just smells of Nazi Germany.
He's not wrong, and Pete, I've said this before, and I will never stop saying it till they drag me out. I find any racism abhorrent, but I am absolutely... I can't believe the spineless approach of politicians to anti-Semitism. Racism shouldn't be the colour of your skin. There is absolute proof of racism against and anti-Semitism against the Jewish community, and you can absolutely see this march where we've seen them in the past and they burn the Israeli flag. We're not protecting the Jewish community, are we?
Certainly not as sufficiently as we should do. But there's a problem that was being caused many, many years ago. And what this country has done, what successive governments have done, is they have allowed bodies like the Iranian Human Rights Commission, who are fully supportive of the murderous Iranian regime, to spread their tentacles into this country like Japanese knotweed. And what the Charities Commission has been powerless to do, and what parliamentarians have refused to do, is to pass laws to strip these bodies, to ban these bodies. These are enemies of ours. If a regime wants to spread terror around the world, like the Iranian government has done, then they are fundamentally enemies of ours, enemies of our freedoms, enemies of what we treasure, what we fought so hard, what millions of Brits laid their lives down for. And if we're not going to rip these organisations out, and if we're not going to deport the murderous, vile people who support these regimes, because I believe if you support a murderous regime, then I can call you murderous by extension. And unless we're going to banish these people from our shores, ban these organisations, the Iranian Human Rights Commission claimed £106,000 in gift aid. That's my taxes, your taxes, your audience's taxes, 25% added to donations to an organisation that supports murder, rape and terrorism on a global scale.
Couldn't agree more. We won't even prescribe the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, that are the cancerous side of that entire regime, as a terrorist organisation. But Pete, come on, there's a story out today that proves that you and I have no idea of what's going on. You're talking, as I am, about deporting Iranian diplomats, dealing with getting rid of these horrible hate marches, and that anybody who supports a regime that murders its own people and sponsors the financing of terrorist cells that kill people across the United Kingdom. Have you heard today's news? An undercover investigation by the Telegraph pointed out that the Foreign Office, we've got video footage, and its staff was seen celebrating the Islamic Revolution by attending a party at the Iranian embassy 4 weeks ago, on the day, several days after the regime massacred thousands of its own people. In a statement to the Daily Telegraph, it went, "What are you doing that for? We should throw these people out of this country." The Foreign Office said it's a normal part of diplomacy to help to protect the UK.
Once again, it is the Japanese knotweed of liberalism, progressives, wokery and utter abject nonsense. And this has been allowed to spread. Blair started it in 1997.
Yeah.
And nobody's had the balls to strip it out from our organisations, from our civil service, from our public services. And it's grown and grown and grown. And this is why this nation is becoming increasingly frustrated, in fact, very, very angry with all of this dross. Well, let me tell you, as soon as we get the opportunity, the great British people are going to take to the streets with their weapons in their hands. And those weapons will be a sharpened pencil as we walk into the ballot box and banish this Labour government into the abyss of history.
I just think it, and I know you might disagree with me, and I want this government out and this Prime Minister, we'll talk about him in a sec, but it's cultural as well. You're right, that there seems to have been over the last few years, I call it apologists. If you say to one of these apologists, you know, in Rochdale, British Pakistani men, 83% of them, thought it was OK to rape 8-year-old girls, and yet the police admit they did nothing for 8 years for fear of stoking up, you know, unhappiness in the community. We are soft. We are laughed at because we're so soft. I see Hannah Spencer, that new Green MP yesterday, standing up in the House of Commons. That's fine. My new speech is about trans, and it's about Muslims, and it's about Gaza, not a pothole in Gorton and Denton, not about the working situation of men and women who are paying tax for this. I just think there's this culture that needs to be destroyed beyond this government. You know, I said to somebody the other day, we were talking, I live in Bournemouth, on the beaches, you know, and near Bournemouth, and somebody said, you know, I was talking about the story about the guy who raped the girl, and one of those apologists said to me, "Pete, white men rape girls as well." And I went,
yes,
of course they do. None of it. I don't care about the colour of your skin. If you think it's OK to do that, I don't want you in this country. But if you're going to say we'll import men whose view of women is appalling and we don't know who they are into this country and look after them so they can go ahead and do that, it's ludicrous, man.
if 12% of the prison population wasn't taken up by foreigners, then perhaps we could lock up a few thousand more of our own revolting people, like the poster boy for paedophiles, Hugh Edwards. We could lock those kind of people up as well.
No, he's on a pension from the bit. We're still paying his pension, you and me. Don't worry about her. Oh, Edwards is doing fine. It just does my head in. I don't get it.
We've got too many people in this country who have absolutely no right to be here and have not been expelled, deported, which they should have been. The whole system of this country was set up many years ago, the size of the prison population, the size of the police service and the such like, to deal with the British population. But now we've had such an expansion in the last couple of decades, all the public services are creaking at the seams because we've not been able to deal with the extra capacity, whether that's locking them up or having to treat them in hospitals or having their children go into our schools. That's why there is so much pressure on every corner. But what Blair started as the political correctness movement has now gone absolutely blooming haywire and has resulted in nonsense throughout our public services, throughout life, and in essence, it's made people scared to throw a bloke in a frock out of the ladies' toilets, scared to call things out for what they should be. Yeah. And that's where we're at. Our nation has lost its bottle.
I just wanted to do something for you because you mentioned about the I don't want to talk about Starmer to you. I want to talk about the Greens. Did you hear the Zach Polanski thing from yesterday?
God, to ruin my day.
This is a BBC Humberside interview from 10 years ago. This is Zach Polanski, the man who wants to forget, or you, ladies and gentlemen, to forget, that his old job as a hypnotist who thinks he could make women's breasts get bigger. Have a listen.
There's an article in The Sun last week where a client came to see me who was a journalist, and we had a successful project. We've done it a couple of times, and there seems to be no shift, but actually increasingly more and more as I work with people, there's starting to become anecdotal evidence, at least, of a growth in breast size.
But not from last week, though, I assume.
Yes, actually, with her breast size in the Sun article, she says that she grew 4 inches. It didn't change her cup size. She stayed the same cup size, but she said it was a tighter fit.
So they actually grew?
Yep, according to a journalist.
Pete?
Yeah?
Hypnotits can make it grow.
I've grown my breasts by drinking 10 pints of lager and eating 3 bars of chocolate every day. Don't follow my lifestyle, audience.
How's your cup size? Is it getting a bit tight?
Well, I'm spending so much time on stage these days, I'm actually losing weight. But anyway, let's change the subject urgently. Apart from for me to say, Jack Polanski, as my dear old dad would have said, is off his rocker.
You got 40 seconds. Keir Starmer yesterday finally accepted full responsibility for appointing Mandelson and decided to apologise to Epstein's victims in front of a school, well, in front of a room of young kids. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
On one day this week, this government voted to abolish jury trials in thousands of cases, reinforced its commitment to digital ID, compulsory digital ID, and brought in backdoor blasphemy regulations. After a day like that, even Vladimir Putin would have needed a large vodka and a lie down.
I love you, mate. Thank you so much. Good luck with the show. Where are you going tonight? You on tonight somewhere?
Yeah, Harpenden tonight, Jersey next week, followed by Folkestone, Newport, Isle of Wight, Stourbridge and Stoke. Thank you very much.
Enjoy yourself. Thanks, Pete. Morning, James.
Morning, Jezza. James from Liverpool here. It's been a while, my friend. Hope you're well. Just looked at this government, and if you look all the things what they are trying to push through with that mandate, scrapping juries, Chagos Islands, ID cards. You tell me this, if they would have put that in a manifesto, do you think they would have done as well? No, very much not. They can't solve the simple things what they were actually elected in on, and that was very simple things like stopping a few boats and controlling immigration.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead.
I spoke to you about the situation in the Gulf and explained that the United Kingdom was not involved in the strikes on Iran. That remains the case. The basis of our decision is the collective self-defense of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. That is in accordance with international law, and we are publishing a summary of our legal advice. We are not joining these strikes, but we will continue with our defensive actions in the region.
Mr Farage, would a reform government have allowed US forces to use UK air bases for offensive operations in Iran?
Yes, is the answer to your question. I would have said to the Americans, please do use our bases. We will be supportive of you on this.
There were a series of very loud blasts in the area of Dubai that I'm based in. That's in the marina area. It's a very touristy area, actually. Those blasts were the loudest we've heard yet, but equally we are reassured that they are most likely the sound of interception by the UAE's quite sophisticated THAAD interception kit. That is the Terminal High Altitude.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Morning again, just gone 8 o'clock. You would Talk, of course, the home of common sense and the home of Alarm Clock Brits. Just gone 8 o'clock. So much to fill in this hour. Zia Youssef, the Shadow Home Secretary of Reform, will be talking all things to do with politics. We've got, I have to say, we've got Harry Redknapp, the legendary football manager, whose horse, the Jukebox Man, is the favourite for the Cheltenham Gold Cup this afternoon. He will be on the show ahead of 9. All your calls. Jez, if it's proven Keir Starmer has lied, do we then have to go back and look at the cases for all the people he helped put behind bars? Wow. Hello to Jonathan in Bournemouth. Good to hear from you, my friend. Very kind. Linda Brown, I love this. Jeremy, you're my fave, but stop telling us you're 60. We're 73 and we enjoy our lives. Yeah, all right then. Hiya. Yesterday, a judge ruled that a man with a beard and deep wrinkles was a child. How absurd. We have lost faith in these weird judges and their agendas. How could we trust them on non-jury trials? That, Jason, is a very, very salient point. Good morning, Dan.
Morning, JK. Happy Friday. It's Dan from Kent. I think I found the answer. What has Keir Starmer given to this country? I've asked friends and family, been racking my brains all morning, but I think I found it. It's only one, and it's not free breakfast clubs. He managed to switch the Christmas lights on. Great show.
Do you remember that, though? 5, 4. Even make turning the Christmas lights on sound miserable. If you're waking up on Friday the 13th and you're superstitious, there you go. Overnight, a British airbase in Iraq has come under attack from Iranian drones in Iran, I should say here. The Defence Secretary John Healey says that Putin's hidden hands could be on it. This changes the whole dynamic of the war. HMS Dragon, our only ship, still hasn't got to Cyprus. Luxembourg got there. We're doing it. Overnight as well, a US tanker has crashed over Iraq with multiple casualties feared. But fear not, my friends. Whilst all of this is escalating, oh God, I can't even read this to you lot without you getting upset. Foreign Office staff, and this is an undercover investigation by the excellent Daily Telegraph, have been seen celebrating the Islamic Revolution by attending a party at the Iranian embassy some weeks ago, days just after the regime massacred 30,000 of its own people. So let me get this right. Part of the blob went to a party at the Iranian embassy to not have drinks, obviously, with a bunch of people whose regime had just murdered 30,000 of its own people. And there are live pictures, if you are watching on YouTube, of the Al-Quds march, which is allegedly happening on Sunday in England, in Tehran as we speak. These are people supporting a regime that murders people, maims people and sponsors terrorism across the world. And the other big news story today, we're having more problems. Technically, this morning it's a nightmare. Oh, right, OK. It's the Al-Quds march. I don't know if you know about this, right? But this is the march on Sunday in London that lots of people are angry about because it is, in essence, a terrorist march. And so on Monday, we were delighted when the then Home Secretary, well, is she still Home Secretary? Is she? Shabana Mahmood jumps up and says, I'm going to ban this. These people are spewing hatred and burning Jewish flags. This is an absolute disgrace. And we all went, hurrah! And then on Tuesday, she had to say, well, there's a loophole. What's the loophole? This is Great Britain for you. The loophole is if you stand still, it's not the same. So you can walk up and... Well, you can't walk up and down, burning Jewish flags and spewing hatred, but you can stand still and do it. That is what we've come to. 0344 499 1000. We say a very good morning to a man who can make sense of all of this crap. Zia Youssef, Shadow Home Secretary for Reform. Good morning. I'm at a point where I'm going to start banging my head on a brick wall. Zia, let's go straight to it, please. The Al-Quds march. I was showing live pictures from Tehran. People supporting a murderous regime that sponsors the death of people across the world by backing Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and all of these dreadful terrorist groups. You hope to be Home Secretary. Answer me a question. Monday, the Home Secretary says they're banned. Tuesday, she says, statically they're allowed to happen. Can I ask you, can I say as a voter, this is embarrassing, man. This is beyond embarrassing. We should have thrown these Iranian officials out of their goddamn embassy and brought in a law with a majority government overnight banning this march, shouldn't we?
It's terrifying that this sort of a march can happen. This sort of a gathering of people who are directly supporting a murderous regime, B, a regime that has attacked British sovereign territory in recent weeks, and C, a regime that is actively, covertly attempting to kill British citizens ongoing and in real time. What I want to be clear to your listeners and viewers about is that the people that you would see at that march, these are the ones that you can see. The IRGC, which is, of course, the state-backed, it's effectively a state-backed terrorist organisation, albeit not yet, astonishingly, not yet prescribed in the United Kingdom. MI5 have said that they have foiled 20, no less than 20 plots, terrorist plots, organised by the IRGC on our own soil, right here in the UK. And it's a godsend, and down to their brilliant professionalism that none have so far been successful. The European Union have already prescribed, even the European Union. When was the last time I was sitting here talking about how the EU is have done something that we should have done? But I'm afraid they are ahead of us on this. The United States of America have also prescribed IRGC. So it is terrifying, actually, just how weak not only, frankly, this Labour government is, but the Tories before them. I mean, it is well known in intelligence circles all around the world that the UK and London in particular has basically become a place where the Iranian state has been able to act with impunity in a pretty terrifying way. So, yes, as Home Secretary, I will ensure that if you want to go onto the streets and display your support for a regime that is constantly trying to kill British citizens, I'm afraid you simply will not be allowed to do that. That is exactly, by the way, what our prescribing laws are meant to do. And one of the things Shabana Mahmood will say in her defence is that, well, you know, the legislation doesn't allow me to do this, or the legislation doesn't technically allow me to do this. Well, this is one of the really interesting things about politicians. The whole point is they get to change the laws, Jeremy.
Absolutely.
The reason why the laws are not changed is because she has the same problem that every Tory Home Secretary has too. There is simply no appetite in the parliamentary party in that for Labour, like there wasn't in the Tories, and there is no appetite from the Prime Minister.
I am so with you. You know, I've spoken to you privately and Nigel. It's about will. I don't buy this crap that says that, you know, essentially civil servants call the shots. If you are a democratically elected person by the people of this country and you stand on something, then I believe your moral responsibility is to see that through, whatever detractors come by. But look, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, you know, this celebration, the Foreign Office, officials, the blob in the Iranian embassy. We need to wise up. I would have thrown the Iranian diplomats out of this country. And I always say to somebody I said it earlier, I don't know if you heard, somebody was saying to me, oh, well, you can't do that about the march. And I was going to say, do you want to go and talk to the parents of kids who were blown to bits in the Manchester Arena bombings when they simply went to a concert? These people don't seem to understand. This is a murderous regime. And whatever people's thoughts on whether we should have been in the war at the beginning and where it's going to end, why do we seemingly, Zia, live in a world where people can't just go, that person's evil? They do not deserve liberty. They don't deserve to be here. I think that's perfectly acceptable if somebody's like that.
It's not only perfectly acceptable, it's exactly what the British state is supposed to be doing. It's not just a desirable feature amongst politicians, it's literally their most important duty. I want to say one other thing about the insanity of the Home Secretary's position, by the way, because it would have been one thing completely for her to say, you know, we're simply not banning any of this. I think they have every right to go and do it. That is one argument. Obviously, appalling argument, completely wrong, but it's one argument. But to say that they can go and espouse these views and support this regime in stationary, but they're not allowed to do so while walking, is obviously one of the most insane logical fallacies imaginable. I mean, to that notion, everybody would surely agree that incitement, direct incitement to violence is a crime. And so if somebody said, well, if the police said, well, you are welcome to go and say that you want to go and encourage a mob to go and burn down that person's house, you can do so, but please make sure you are stationary when doing so. You'd say that's like something out of a Monty Python sketch. But that is a case study of how dysfunctional the British state has become. And, you know, I want to say one other thing, too, because I'm getting sometimes this argument, particularly from the left, saying, oh, well, you know, Britain, if Britain is getting involved in any form of a war, then there is a moral obligation now to just have open borders and let, you know, an infinite number of Iranians sort of break into the country. And, you know, my response to that is that, look, it actually doesn't matter what's going on the international stage in terms of whether the British people should have a secure border. Those two things are totally independent and totally separate variables. There are well north of about, I think it's in the hundreds of, if you were to ask the United Nations, how many people are in the world who are displaced by war or famine, they will tell you it's in the hundreds of millions, right? That is the situation today. Obviously, that's sad, that's tragic. It would be better if that wasn't true. But we are a country, we are a nation. We've got to look after our own people, who many of whom are suffering. You know, Welsh 13-year-old boys have a lower educational attainment than the OECD average, a lower educational attainment than 13-year-olds in Turkey, a country to whom British taxpayers sent hundreds of millions of pounds in foreign aid, thanks to the Tory and now Labour government. So we've got to look after our own people. And
do you know what's really interesting? Can I just jump in, Zia? Because
it's like an original sin that I think many in the civil service prescribe to. Britain is simply not allowed. The British people are not allowed to have their own border. Under a reform government, Nigel's our Prime Minister, our borders will mean something. And it will not matter. You can have all the arguments you want about foreign affairs and all of that, fine. But certainly my job as Home Secretary will be making sure our border is secure and nobody gets into this country without our permission.
And I've had this argument with so many people. And to me, it's very plain, and you're spot on. It's all well and good to be this moral society in this country that spends millions of pounds looking after everybody else, and that's great, but the world has changed. This country is not creaking, but this country is broken. Its public services are broken. We have an older population. We have a bigger population. And by allowing people who we don't know who they are to come in willy-nilly, you are essentially saying to the hard-working Brit, and I know I do it every morning, but it's how I feel, thanks for paying your tax, thanks for working 50 years, thanks for not breaking the law, thanks for everything, but you know what? You're at the back of the queue. And to me, politics is really simple now, which is why Reform are cutting through, because you're saying to people, we're not racist, we're not far right. We are simply saying to hard-working alarm clock Brits, We will put you first. And some people say to me, oh, Jess, you sound like Trump. He says put America first. Well, yeah, let's put our people first. Can I talk about Starmer? Because yesterday was interesting, wasn't it? Finally, he takes full responsibility for appointing Mandelson. Kemi Badenoch comes out and says he lies every day. And just to give us some idea of how wrong he gets almost everything, the place he chose to apologise to the Epstein victims was a community hall somewhere outside London, surrounded by kids screaming, of all places. What did you make of that, Zia?
Well, you know, the optics of that on the grand list of Keir Starmer's sins isn't even, you know, it's probably in the bottom percentile. Look, the reality is, when you actually read the Mandelson files that were published, it's a long document and it's not pleasant reading, but it's crystal clear in there that the advice to the Prime Minister prior to his appointment of Peter Mandelson was, this is a man who continued a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
A man who had, at that point, already been convicted of child prostitution, and Peter Mandelson had even stayed in his house while he was in jail. Now, I just want you to think, forget about politics, forget about everything else. Just imagine anyone listening to this right now, you were interviewing a candidate for literally any job at all. Somebody to walk your dog, somebody to work on your garden, somebody to take a job in a bank, whatever the job is, right? That work is going to be done for you. It's important, and you're looking at this advice that's come through from whoever's done your vetting for you. Are you going to hire this person, or are you going to go, you know what? Let me see if there's any other candidates I could speak to who have not continued a friendship with a world-famous paedophile and who have stayed in that paedophile's house while he was in jail.
Zia, let me cut in because I want to ask you.
Looked at all of that and appointed him as Britain's ambassador to the United States. One doesn't really need to know much more to say something deeply untoward has gone on.
2 questions, yes or no. Has Keir Starmer lied?
100%. Yes, absolutely.
Should Keir Starmer, because, and I'm not sticking up for Johnson, but he made a big thing in 2022. You lied, you misled the House. Surely our Prime Minister, hopefully not for too much longer, should face the same Sleaze inquiry that Boris Johnson did.
Yeah, look, I think he should. I think he absolutely should. I don't know whether he said some of these things in the House of Commons, so specifically the charge of misleading the House. I need to do more work on that. But he for sure said this. He said to the country, well, actually, you know what? It was worse than that. He addressed the victims directly. And he said, I'm paraphrasing slightly here, but the quote's out there. It's on the BBC's website. He said, listen, I want to apologise for believing Mandelson's lies and appointing him. Right? That was his apology.
Yeah.
And so what he's implying there is that had he known about Peter Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, he wouldn't have appointed him. And again, what the documents that were released prove beyond any reasonable doubt, they're literally government documents that were on Keir Starmer's desk about Mandelson. They say they gave him all of the information about his relationship with Mandelson, more than enough for any reasonable person of sound mind, let alone, by the way, someone who was literally director of public prosecutions, to have made a decision like this. So he's absolutely lied to the country. But here's the thing, Jeremy, Starmer is no longer actually running the country, right? He's Prime Minister in name only. Mad Ed Miliband, I'm afraid to tell your viewers, to break it to them, Mad Ed Miliband is now already running the country. As you may have seen very well-sourced articles about when they were discussing whether they would allow Trump to use British RAF bases. Starmer actually walked in and said, yeah, you know, I do want to do that. And Ed Miliband said, no, you're not, Nate. And then Rachel Reeves came in behind Miliband. So I think they're just waiting for the May elections because they're all too cowardly. And I think it's the same for the Tories too. None of the people who would want that top job want to take on the body blow of I think, a real drubbing in the May elections. And I think they'll move straight after that.
Couldn't agree more. Final thing, as the Shadow Home Secretary, we haven't got much time, but this is the story. And my father-in-law's in the car. By the way, he thinks you're the best. Two asylum... Did we have to salute a judge, Zia? 2 asylum seekers were yesterday jailed for running a county lines drug network from a tax-funded migrant hotel called the Roundhouse Hotel in Bournemouth. The pair used that hotel, made hundreds of thousands of pounds, and yesterday, let's salute her, Judge Susan Evans said, and I quote, I very much hope you will be deported as soon as possible because your presence in this country is not conducive to the public good. Isn't it nice to hear a judge who's got some common sense here?
100% all credit to that judge. I hate to break it to you, though, the likelihood that that person is going to be deported next to zero because of the ECHR. They will now board the merry-go-round of appeals. I'm sorry to put a downer on this, but I think it's important to understand that. There are tens of thousands. There's almost 20,000 people in this country. This is an insane statistic. Almost 20,000 people in this country whose deportation has been ordered by the authorities, who are still here. That's an all-time high, and living in the community, who have served incarceration, who have served jail time, who are not being deported because of these insane ECHR appeals. All of that's got to go. We got to leave the ECHR so that people like that, if a judge says you're gone, they're gone.
Mate, it's always great to have you on. We so appreciate the work you do. Thank you so much indeed, Zia Youssef, Shadow Home Secretary for Reform, 8:20. Is it Friday the 13th? Are you suspicious? I don't know if you saw the clip earlier. This is a bit of fun. A jockey won a race yesterday at Cheltenham, Tom Bellamy, and his mum was interviewed, and she said, let's hope, in terms of the race, that he actually ends up getting a girlfriend. I'm asking you this on text, 87222. What's the most outrageous thing you've done to get a partner? My wife's in the car right now. She's thinking, I'm not going there. By the way, it's that time. Oliver, William, Robin, Kyle, have a good day at school. Rissy Roo, the in-laws are in the car as well. Nanny won't be able to get out the back because her legs are too short, and Grandad's ranting at the Ravio. What's a Ravio? Morning, Jerry.
Morning, Jeremy. Jerry Fairshire. You're asking about 3 things that Starmer's done well. 1, tell a pack of lies. 2, take a load of freebies. And 3, unite the whole country into hating them. Keep up the great work, mate. Cheers.
conflict breaks out anywhere in the world, it has consequences here at home. Talk War is your definitive national security briefing. From the conflict in Ukraine to the tensions in Gaza and the latest escalation with Iran, this is where you'll find comprehensive comment and expert analysis with multiple updates throughout the day. The Talk War podcast from Talk, available on the Talk app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 8:25. We're live across the UK. Talk, of course, the home of common sense. It's the home of the alarm clock. Brit, if you want to be on, as ever, 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. This Al-Quds march on Sunday is causing real confusion. Hello to Pam. She says, how the hell can you have a stationary march, Jez? People have to walk en masse until they start walking. Very interesting point. This is good. Jez, Dan, there's something else that Starmer has done. Stop the boats. No, sorry, boat. He did stop a boat. I know it was her own, HMS whatever. The latest on HMS dragging your feet is it still hasn't got to Cyprus. Luxembourg, which is indeed a landlocked country, managed to get a boat there. We're struggling. No idea. Oh, hello. There is already a legal framework for banning static protests. They used it to stop people holding a silent vigil outside abortion centres. Hedley Richardson from Scarborough. Thank you. Morning, Jez, says Dave in South Gloucester. The Iranian event, appeasement and sucking up terrorist regimes is not part of diplomacy to protect the UK. It is cowardice and pathetic and being too scared to stand up to bullies. Good morning to Ron Dyer in Plymouth. Ah, the Ho, the Ho. No. The Ho is in Plymouth. Don't start, you gits. Good morning, Jez. I've read today that a man in the Emirates has been arrested and faces prison for capturing photos of attacks on Dubai airport. Isabel has been reporting with clips of rockets. Is she in danger? I hope not, because she's so good. Very true. James is in Exeter. All right. Why did I do that? Three things Starmer has done well: emboldening the Islamic extremism and continued degradation of British culture. He's fixed the skills shortage through the increase in doctors, engineers and architects coming from small boats in France. And he's managed to completely and utterly ruin our economics with a complete low level of literacy. Just to point out, by the way, breaking news from earlier, which will make you feel even worse about your day. The UK economy recorded zero growth in January, so there we go. And for anybody who wants to blame the situation in the Middle East, the Daily Mail are reporting breaking news that it was flatlining before, in fact, the Middle East crisis happened. So, obviously, Britain's broken and nothing to grow in and everybody's skint. Great. Let's talk about Dubai. Drones falling near Dubai airport overnight, leaving 4 people injured as flights are axed. Basically, it would be fair to say that this paradise that has seen nearly 250,000 Brits head off to in the last few years, some of them slagged off because of taxes, some going and building very successful businesses. They are saying the dream is dead. We're delighted to be joined now by this man's very important online. Adam Abraham, owner of Love Luxury, a British entrepreneur, luxury goods expert and social media legend. Good morning, Adam. How are you?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you this morning?
Well, you know, old and agitated and hacked off by the incompetence of most people that run this bloody country. But there you are in Dubai. And I wanted to start, actually, pal, because there's this story going around that a British tourist is facing up to 2 years in prison over footage they posted online of missiles being fired. And the intimation, I guess, Adam, is that the Dubai government want to give the impression that things are better than they are. Can you comment on that?
To be honest with you, Jeremy, I'm so out of touch with what's going on. I've been so busy with the luxury business in itself, especially with what's going on at the moment. Honestly, cannot comment on what you just
What's it like then there? Because we have Isabel, who our international editor, who lives in Dubai, and she sort of said it's fine, and then she sort of said there are slight concerns. What's it like being in Dubai right now? Is it scary?
So it's sort of split between half of my friends are sort of worried to be in Dubai at the moment and they all want to leave, and the other half are just like, you know, there are no problems at all happening in Dubai, and it's all over media. I'm actually at the airport now on the way back to Dubai, and I flew back from Dubai just about a few weeks back, and I haven't seen any problems whatsoever. I'm flying up and down, apart from there being no one in the airport whatsoever at the moment.
Do you think, I mean, your business is hugely successful, Love Luxury, and obviously after this you'll be sending my wife some designer handbags and watches, but on a serious note, do you see the dream dying in Dubai for people or not?
Honestly, hand to heart, not myself, as in I'm based in UK, I'm a UK taxpayer, but I don't believe it's going to die. I just believe it's going to take some time to sort of get back to normal again, like every other situation has happened in the past 7-8 years since COVID and all the other issues that we've had.
It's interesting because there's sort of different views, aren't there, about... I see a lot of, you know, when they was first talking about taking people out of Dubai, there were certain sections of this country of ours going, why should we pay for flights to get out? They don't pay any tax. They're this, that and the other. My view would be that many people who went to Dubai were forced out of this country by insane tax levels. They built successful businesses and they've gone and built them elsewhere and employed people elsewhere because our government is too short-sighted to believe that that's how you create growth.
I mean, 100%. I feel that, you know, Dubai is currently sort of allowing us on to sort of end up in Dubai, sort of save money on taxes, live a better lifestyle, and it's rewarding us. And I feel the UK is currently punishing entrepreneurs like myself who want to grow. I do feel London and UK has great opportunity. It's just a crime rate at the moment, I feel, has caused a big issue, especially in the businesses that we run.
Well, I was talking about your business off air. You have boutiques in Knightsbridge. Have you seen that viral footage of the Rolex shop in Knightsbridge that I drive past every morning when I come in? People just standing there, Adam, whilst 4 armed men on a bike come in and nicked thousands of pounds worth of watches. And why, if you had a business and there were no police on site, because apparently that would be against, you know, we've got to give rights to the people with guns. The whole thing's ludicrous. It's almost as if, and I get this, if I was younger, I can freely admit I'd have gone to Dubai with my family. The safety issues, the opportunities in terms of business, just the way they treat people. But the fact is that here, with everything that's going on in the world, I'm not saying, you know, the first day of the bombing, right, I had an influencer lady on. She sat, this is true, she sat in an apartment block and she said, you know what, Jez, even with drones overhead, it's better than Sadiq Khan's London, as a woman. And I mean, that's a really, really fascinating thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%, yeah. I mean, you know, it depends on whatever suits your personality. I grew up in the UK, in London. I moved to Dubai 3 years back because of safety, for my family, for the business, and just opportunities that it really offers to the kids now. For myself, I love the UK. My parents are in the UK, my kids, my siblings, etc. So it's just, you know, it's a tough one at the moment. It's a really tough one. You know, I love Dubai. I love what it offers, but I also love the UK at the same time.
Do you see yourself coming back to the UK permanently at some point? And if you do, what would need to change, pal? From a business point of view, I guess.
So I'm currently in the UK. So I spend every 2 weeks in the UK, and I'm a UK taxpayer. So I'm actually, you know, I haven't actually moved over yet as a non-dom, and I'm not sure. I mean, it's always been a plan for the majority of us. I'm not sure if that's something that I'm going to be doing, as you know, most of my businesses are actually in the UK at the moment, but definitely something to consider.
I know at the beginning specifically you didn't want to talk about that, but I need to ask you these questions, and I'm straight with you and you're straight with me. There's been a lot said that by influencers actually that there's pressure to not speak out about Dubai in terms of what is happening. Do you know anything about that at all?
I mean, I've heard people talk about it, a few influencers, very popular influencers that you probably spoke to on social media already, and I mean, it's not something that I've been told to not talk about, but I have heard some people not talking about certain situations, but I honestly have no idea. As in, it's not from a good source. It's just people, say.
I mean, the reason I went back to it is, and you don't know about it, but that's fine. There is a story that a Brit influencer is facing 2 years in prison for showing footage of Dubai airport and a missile. And of course, I get that. You run a business, right? The fact of the matter is, if you're offering this tax-free haven that's such a mecca for everybody in business and growth and a lovely lifestyle, if you've got drones flying overhead, it's not a particularly good advertising campaign. So I get it. What would you say to the Brits living in Dubai? Stick at it or come home?
Stick at it. Stay there. Don't come back yet. It's too early.
When's not too early? When this bloody government's out?
Jeremy, you know, we've had issues for quite some time now with the government. But I don't know. I mean, me personally, if it was my choice, I would stay in Dubai for now. If I had the choice, I don't have the choice, unfortunately. I will be traveling to another 20, 30 countries over the next year from now for a lot of new businesses that we're starting. But if I had the choice, I would stay in Dubai.
It's a real pleasure. I'll look forward to the love luxury goods for Mrs. K coming through the post. And he didn't even say yes or no. Good luck, my friend. Thank you so much indeed. Adam Abraham, the owner of Love Luxury, a Dubai. Well, he flits in and out of England. That's really interesting because, of course, a lot of people... Isabel's just texted me. Bless her. She says... she said she can come on if you've got unexpected gaps. You might want to give her a call. But she's just back from Dubai. And it is true. There are people saying you can't speak out because the dream ain't going to look great. He, though, makes quite an interesting point. As a successful business owner... he just feels more that his business is going to work in Dubai. What does that say to you? What does that say about the United Kingdom? Morning, Damien.
Morning, Jazza. Been up since 4 o'clock. I'm working hard. nearly end of the week, so hopefully I'll get the weekend off. But listen, I was just thinking about what you and your guest were talking about with regards to that march being able to go ahead with them standing still. You suggested they could get a law put through the House of Commons and get it voted on within 24 hours, just like they did with the old steelworks. But they're not going to do it. But you watch how quick they'll do it if UK Independence Party or any of them four right parties decide to take a standing march or whatever you want to call it. You watch how quick they'll get it banned then. Anyway, keep up the good work and yeah, have a good day.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Mrs. Kyle's pin-up, Ian Collins. I love his voice. Yeah, have you seen his face? I'm joking. Ian Collins here from 1 o'clock this afternoon, live and exclusive across the UK. Breakfast is on. It's been a busy old show today. 0344 499 1000 if you want to get on. Morning, JK. Maybe that boat, the only one we've got, should be renamed, instead of Dragon, HMS Dragon. Yeah, we did that last week, Dragon your feet. Not because of the brave crew, who I pray will come back safe and sound, but because of this coward in number 10. He is so utterly hopeless. Maggie in London. I asked you if there were 3 things that Keir Starmer had done well in the last 18 months. Steve in Cambridge. Growth in the civil service. Money in your pocket, if you call Peter Mandelson, 75 grand. And only the brightest MPs for the best jobs. David Lammy. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. A complete and utter Mickey take. Tom, calling out Islam is not racist. It's a religion, not a race. Very good. Neil, name 3 things that Starmer's done well. That's easy. Screwed the economy, ruined our image on the world stage, and destroyed the special relationship with the United States. That sums it all well. Listen, another story that was in the newspapers this week. Well, yesterday, the outgoing head of the BBC, Tim Davie, you know him, responsible for allowing all sorts of stuff to go on, says, sometimes the BBC doesn't get it right. This is before he resigns next week with a huge pension paid for by us. Why didn't you bloody well get it right while you were here? We're delighted to say a very good morning to the former BBC presenter, Sally Jones. Hello, Sally.
Morning, Jeremy.
I'm in the unenviable position of knowing that I could never, will never and should never have worked for the BBC, so I can say anything. You, although worked for them, I'm very interested in your views. And thank you for joining us. Outgoing BBC boss Davie says the broadcaster has no right to exist unless it proves its value and admits public trust is in full crisis after a string of serious mistakes. Why didn't he get it right then?
Well, I think he had a very difficult time. I think that particularly looking at things like the World Service, it had been going down for a long time before that because there simply wasn't enough funding. I think also one problem with the BBC as a whole is institutionalized bias. Tim Davie vaguely nodded at this by saying that there'd maybe been a bit of a metropolitan eye at the BBC. Well, you can say that again about 15 times.
Yeah.
Most of the people that make the decisions are sitting there in a nice little Islingtonian bubble, and they are just exchanging the same views with the same friends who go to the same restaurants. They never come out to the provinces very much. Those people, they're very much taking that view of the world. I mean, I've worked for various bits of the BBC, including as a freelance for BBC World Service, where there's been a lot of concern about propaganda coming in from Russia and China because of the lack of funding for BBC World Service, which has partly been from the licence fee. And to me, it's an absolute tragedy that it's weakening because it really should be properly funded when you see the amount of traction on the world stage that Russia and China
I'm not altogether. I mean, I completely agree with you about institutionalised bias. I'm not sure ideology is to do with funding, if I'm absolutely honest, but I agree with you. I mean, I was always brought... I mean, look, I was 60. When we were kids, you'd watch the BBC News, you'd watch the Generation Game with your parents on Saturday night. There is no doubt whether people like this or not, and you're spot on about Islington. There is institutionalised bias. There is an ideology that has permeated almost every part, I think, of the BBC. And you know, a state broadcaster, you know this, Sally, better than anyone, is supposed to be straight down the middle and unbiased. It's gone almost in a mirror image, as much of this country's gone the other way to, I don't know, appease every... I always say that many governments have become apologists. I think the BBC's become apologists too. I mean, you talk about the World Service. A BBC contributor dismissed the death of El Khamenei the other day as an Israeli hoax. I mean, you look at look at BBC Newsnight last night. This is going to send me insane because my 22-year-old daughter's favourite saying at university is Winston Churchill was racist. Really? You'd be German. Last night, when they announced on BBC Newsnight that the statue or something about Winston Churchill, oh no, that his face on banknotes was going to be paused, the audience and the panel, apart from one person, started clapping. I've watched that woman that does Newsnight. She's completely biased in her approach, and I do seriously feel that.
But you should see the audiences that they get for Question Time and Newsnight. My daughter, who's not a left-winger, it's fair to say, has appeared several times on Question Time.
Yeah.
And she felt that she was a sort of a lone voice in a sea of lefties. And, you know, I think they've got to do more, actually, to show a little bit more balance. I mean, I think the problem with many of the people within the BBC is that they all think that because they all think the same thing, that is the right and kind way to think. They don't realise that is just one of a number of competing viewpoints. We saw it some years ago with James Naughtie interviewing a Labour cabinet minister, and he let his slip show by saying, when we get in, meaning the Labour Party, well, you can't afford to have people thinking in terms of when we get in. Tim Davie has always claimed that they leave their biases at the door, but the problem is that when everybody has got the same bias, they don't even see it as bias, they just see it as a way to think. I mean, it's beyond stupid that, I mean, I cannot bear the thought of a few little furry animals appearing on our banknotes rather than the likes of Churchill. I mean, obviously, if they can find some, you know, sort of...
They're not furry animals, they're young kids who want to be animals. Remember that. We must be fair. Do you know what?
It's the furries.
Oh, it's so good to talk to you. We haven't got long, but did you, as you were working there, did you feel the culture changing?
I did. I mean, I never did feel that it was particularly all-inclusive. It was very much an Oxbridge and very much to the left. I mean, not solidly to the left, but even then, most of the opinion formers were to the left. And because they all felt the same thing, they felt that this was being kind and that if you said, I mean, more recently, if you said anything about whether it was a particularly good idea to have uncontrolled mass migration of a load of illegal immigrants coming to our country, they'd have thought that you were being racist. They wouldn't have seen that is a crucial a crucial topic for many people in the provinces because they see their own jobs and their own lives being totally affected. I mean, living in Warwickshire, that's the sort of thing that I see, and near Birmingham, I see affecting us. I'm sure that most people do, but for years, and Tim Davie has admitted this, anybody who drew attention to that was considered not quite one of them, you know, that they were like the embarrassing auntie who got drunk at a wedding. It was, you know, they were not expected to actually draw attention to the elephant in the room.
Can I just say, what a loss to the BBC you are. Complete and utter common sense. Come and work here. No, you're right. And that, we haven't got long, but that sort of liberal left ideology that, you know, I mean, I'll give you an example, just very quickly, but I was talking to some apologists the other day about, you know, men coming to this country unvetted, and a particular case in Bournemouth about a girl being raped, and her answer was white men rape women as well. It's not the answer, though, is it? It's not the answer. And you're right, there is this sort of, let's look after the perpetrator, let's support the minority. And I think we've reached a point, Sally, in this country where the people who've been here all their lives and lived their lives correctly have frankly had enough. Would you agree?
I would. And it's interesting that it's only as he's going out of the door that even Tim Davie can at least make a gesture in that direction. Obviously, he's never going to admit what the rest of us feel is a serious mistake, or a series of serious mistakes, but he has certainly flagged it up in a way that he never had when he was, you know, in his pomp and in charge.
Sally, I have to go, but I want to just say this publicly. You can come on whenever. The most sensible voice I've heard about the BBC. Thank you so much indeed. This is Talk Breakfast. Morning, Shane.
Morning, Jazz. Shane here in very windy, rainy, cloudy Bournemouth. Right, things Starmer's done best since he's been in office. Okay, starting from the top. Number one, branded every British citizen a far-right thug. Number two, giving let's just screwing the country completely. I think that's fair enough, isn't it, mate? All right, anyway, have a good day. I'm setting off for work now. Catch you later.
Some breaking news this morning revealed that under the Terrorist Act, 242 people were arrested in the year to June of this year.
That's something you can indulge in as to all the people who aren't going to prison because, well, there's no prison spaces.
So this is a Talk exclusive we've been looking at.
I said, you take these cuffs off me and speak to me like a human being rather than a common criminal.
You're just left wondering, do these people who lead us actually hate Britain?
Yeah.
Do they not love our country and everything that we've stood for?
The UK on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 10 to 9. Harry Redknapp, legendary football manager and owner of the Gold Cup favourite, the Jukebox Man, this afternoon at Cheltenham, on the way when we can walk out the stand or even work it out. 0344 499 1000. Georgina is in London. You've got 1 minute, Georgie, go.
Well, all I want to say is I can't believe that they're allowing these hatred marches, you know, like victorious Ayatollah who's murdered thousands of people. What's going on with this country? You know, they stopped the little Scout St. George's march. They can't afford that, but they can afford to go and pay for these blinking Iranian lovers who are, you know, who are killing all these people, these Ayatollah worshippers. It's absolutely sickening, Jeremy. Honestly, I'm at the end of my rope with this. When is this government going to get a handle on this? They say that they're going to stamp out terrorism and they can't even stop a march. It's absolutely ridiculous, Jeremy. I'm at the end of my rope with the whole lot of it.
I couldn't agree more, and I think there's no balance. And for people who don't know what this is the Al-Quds march on Sunday. It's a march that will celebrate the Ayatollah Khomeini and a regime that has sponsored terrorism across the world, and yet they banned it on Monday, but apparently they can get past it by simply allowing them to stand statically. You're absolutely right. If you wave the English flag, you're humiliated. But this apparently is allowed. Really appreciate your call. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, I can't believe it. Poor old Harry, on the day the horse works, we're not having any luck. We're nearly there, though. Dan, morning. 3 things that Starmer's done: allowed anti-Semitism on our streets, scrapped trial by jury, and waged war on Russia. 0344 499 1000. Debs is in Red Hill. Jez, I think the king needs to king the country. He needs to get involved and do something about the loyalty of this Labour government. He will not have a country to king in a minute. It's all gone wrong. The police today cannot enforce the law on aggressive demonstrations because most cannot carry any sort of, shields and public order train. Michael, you're right. Morning, JK. Sean in Gloucester. Every bloody day, Keith Starling does yet another thing that makes me absolutely furious. Do one good thing, Keith. Call a general election so we can get rid of your rancid, destructive government. We can't afford you any longer, and you're putting us in danger. 0344 499 1000. Are we ready to go? With the man who owns the favourite for this afternoon's Gold Cup at Cheltenham, my hero, Harry Redknapp. Good morning. Welcome to Talk.
Jeremy, good morning.
Now, listen, son, I've been in your position, not in the Gold Cup, but in the Ryanair, and I could not even sleep. How was last night?
Yeah, a little bit, difficult to, dreaming of coming up the hill in front, but, I don't know, it seems to have, dragged on since the King George at Boxing Day when we won, and then suddenly everybody felt we had a chance in the Gold Cup. So it's finally come around. We'll find out today. It's going to be a tough race, Jeremy. I mean, there are so many horses in there with big chances. But,
11 running. 11 running. Yours down to 5-2, the favourite. And in true Harry Redknapp style, he promises Arsene fish and chips if you win, mate. Is that it?
Absolutely. Bit of fish and chips tonight.
I spoke to Mark on Monday about something else. He said the entire family coming down, Jamie and Mark and the gang. It's such pressure, mate, isn't it? Because all the public want this horse to win for you.
Yeah, it's been amazing, the support we've had, and it's great. It would be lovely, obviously, and but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit like being a football manager. I'm running around trying to sort out tickets for everybody. Oh, I forgot him, I forgot them. It's going to be a bit of, I'll get phone calls. It's probably just as they're lining up, somebody's outside, I haven't left their ticket.
Well, I'll tell you, when I had a runner at Cheltenham, and it was 4 years ago, I spent 3 weeks on the toilet beforehand. I didn't sleep the night before, and I literally headed to where I was going to watch it, and the bloke wouldn't let me in. I nearly lost my nut. Honestly, you're right. You run around worrying about everybody else. You've got to try and enjoy it. But he has on form, and listen, I'm a horsey man. He's got a fantastic chance. Ben Pauling, your trainer, a good winner, maybe by the sea yesterday. Everything points to it. I think the danger's Haiti Calors from Rebecca Curtis's yard.
Yeah, I think that is a big danger. I think that'll, that stays forever. So, and Sean Bowen on board. It's a wide open race, Jeremy, isn't it? But
and also,
we'll find out.
Well, we will watch out, and all of it on Talk Sport. I know you're going on there in 5 minutes. I know you've been mad, and to join us is great. But you know what I'm going to ask you next, don't you?
No good. Are Spurs going to stay up?
Well, they're not. West Ham. Well, they said, now, you're a West Ham man. They're my team.
Yeah.
I think we're playing and we look like we'll survive. What do you reckon, Hal?
Yeah, I think West Ham will be fine. I do, really. They're in great form. Somerville's playing well, come back now, and no, West Ham look okay. It's going to be tough for Tottenham, and Notts Forest probably probably relying on the big game. They've got Forest next week, I think. So
yeah,
that's going to be a massive game. Yeah,
I know lots of people were talking about you coming back and all of that, and taking that little sad man Jamie O'Hara with you. That's funny, by the way, if you watch him and Cundy on TalkSport. If you at 10 o'clock at night, gang, the sports bar is hysterical. Cundy won't let O'Hara off the hook. Overnight, rumours Sean Dyche might get it. Would anybody want to take it, Harry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sean would have a go at it, wouldn't he, for, short term, and, he's got good lads with him. Ian Wone's a good lad who works with him, Steve Stone. So, yeah, I mean, sure, Sean would have a crack at it. It's, he'd probably go in there and
kick
do
a few
short
bucks.
Term, have a go. And they'd probably do a deal. He'll get a decent bonus if he keeps them up. I suppose that's the type of deal. Long term, it seems that they'd have somebody in mind, probably for the future. But they're looking short term. They've got to stay up first. So
do you think they will? Do you think they will, mate?
It's going to be tight. It's, a month ago, I said they're certain to stay up. But the longer it's gone on, the more I see of them, the tougher it's getting, and with West Ham hitting form, and Forest capable, although Forest got beat last night in the European, whatever cup it is, I don't know what it is really.
The Conference League, Dame Edna Everage Cup or something, I don't know.
Yeah. The Intertoto Cup, was it, that we won back in the day?
Listen, I just want to wish you personally, I'd see you down soon down south, but the jukebox, man, I know what it means today, mate, and I know, and it's easy to sit here and go enjoy it because everybody will be at you, and you feel like when the race is on, you're in this sort of you don't even feel like you're there, do you, man?
No, very strange feeling. But yeah, I tried to find somewhere, stand on my own in the paddock where I normally stand out the way. I don't want anybody talking to me. I just want to watch the race. And,
Nichols goes and hides behind the bins underneath the bit in Cheltenham. He doesn't want anybody watching because the camera... Was Sandra coming?
Yeah, we're all here today, yeah. She came to the King George. She's not really a big racing, but she enjoyed it when, she loved coming to the Boxing Day, and she's here. We've been up here for 3 days, so... We had a lovely stay, and it's been peaceful and quiet where we've been staying, so it's been nice.
I'm glad, mate, and I'm not going to go into any more... I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go into any more detail. Love to the family, and seriously, good luck today, and I mean it. We'll be watching.
Appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you. Ta-da, mate.
I'll see you soon. Harry Redknapp, thank you very much indeed. It's a massive day for a legend of football. He owns the Gold Cup favourite, the Jukebox Man, number 11. It's the 4 o'clock at the Cheltenham Festival this afternoon. I'll give you Haiti Calor as the main danger, but that would mean for racing, for the public, for almost everybody. He's such a legend, Harry Redknapp. He won. Didn't he win the Jungle, didn't he? Everybody just loves this man, and we wish him the best of luck. And can I just repeat the amazing sister station TalkSport, all your action from Cheltenham. I don't know if you know this, but Alan Brazil, the breakfast presenter, the man who never makes it, missed yesterday's show. He was back this morning. Everything you need to know throughout the day on our sister station TalkSport. And, of course, more reaction to that tomorrow. But, yeah, Jukebox Man, good luck to Harry Redknapp. It's almost 9 o'clock. We're live across the United Kingdom. There is so much going on this morning. It's been a busy hour. Still to come, Dan Hodges, Mail on Sunday commentator. Well, we've got Isabel Oakeshott. We've got Richard Tice. Are they together? Well, they are, but we're not going to talk about it. They're getting married. Guess who got invited to the wedding? Did you get invited, Christian? Liar. Did you really? Did you get invited to the wedding? There you go, I'm just saying. Angela Levin, royal broadcaster, she's never too short in coming... Well, she is short, but she's not short in coming back. She's very short, to be honest, but she will absolutely tell you the truth. And just to make you feel good as you head towards your weekend and the 9 o'clock news, you look around the world and World War III and everything, the economy's screwed as well. Completely flatlined, didn't grow in January. So I'm just, I'm here to give you the truth. Maybe you can make some money on the Jukebox Man. Not that I'm condoning gambling. Listen to TalkSport. Don't shake your head. 0344 499 1000. Live calls and, of course, those voice notes. Tommy doing a sterling job. You can send your text 87222. Do please start your message with the word talk. And we will head towards the news at 9, which is next on Talk Breakfast. Enjoy.
Over the past 36 hours, The United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead.
I spoke to you about the situation in the Gulf and explained that the United Kingdom was not involved in the strikes on Iran. That remains the case. The basis of our decision is the collective self-defense of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. That is in accordance with international law, and we are publishing a summary of our legal advice. We are not joining these strikes, but we will continue with our defensive actions in the region.
Mr Farage, would a reform government have allowed US forces to use UK air bases for offensive operations in Iran?
Yes is the answer to your question. I would have said to the Americans, please do use our bases. We will be supportive of you on this.
There were a series of very loud blasts in the area of Dubai that I'm based in. That's in the Marina area. It's a very touristy area, actually. Those blasts were the loudest we've heard yet, but equally we are reassured that they are most likely the sound of interception by the UAE's quite sophisticated THAAD interception kit.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Just gone 9. One more hour of breakfast for this week. Goodness me, it is so busy. If you're waking up or just joining us overnight, a British airbase in Iraq has come under attack from Iranian drones. The Defence Secretary John Healey saying that Putin's hidden hands are behind the attack. We have breaking news. Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper has just come out the blocks and said that Russia and Iran are trying to hijack the global economy amid Tehran's blockade of the Straits of Hormuz even so. That's the Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper saying this is Russia and Iran trying to dominate the global economy. That piece of waterway, the Straits of Hormuz, we were talking earlier with Rear Admiral Chris Parry, is where the majority of trade in the world goes through. The Americans say, well, we're just going to bomb everybody and make sure we can get through. It's definitely a crucial moment. Yvette Cooper as Foreign Secretary, because she did such a good job at the Home Office, didn't she? Starmer, if you're waking up, just joining, finally yesterday taking full responsibility for the dreadful decision to appoint Peter Mandelson. Kemi Badenoch, front page of the Mail, saying he's told lie after lie. I'm going to read you a text, actually, from Jeanette in Gosforth, because this, to me, sums up the appalling judgment and the inability of this man to be the Prime Minister of the country. She says, Jez, about his judgment, to make an apology in a children's centre where kids are running around happily about his approval of a man as ambassador to the US who was the closest of friends to a renowned child trafficker is just about, even by Starmer's judgment, the lowest of the low. He has no judgment. The man is an absolute disgrace. I say a very good morning. Mail on Sunday, Mail as well, legend. We love him. Dan Hodges, good morning.
Good morning.
You, more than anybody, got hold of this story about Mandelson and got hold of this story about Starmer, and this story has just become, I think, the thing that everybody will talk about. Today on the front of the Mail, Kemi Badenoch saying the PM has told lie after lie. In simple terms, Dan, irrespective of the optics of doing that yesterday where he did, many papers, yours included, were rightly very critical of Boris Johnson. at the end of his tenure. The left screamed, "You've misled Parliament, you should resign in disgrace." Surely the time has come for Starmer to go, "I've lied, I have to face a Sleaze inquiry, I'm no better than Boris Johnson," and get the hell out of Downing Street.
Well, I completely agree. I mean, I personally called for Boris to resign over the Partygate scandal, over what I perceived was quite clear lies that were told, crucially, to the country and the House of Commons. And I also called for him to go over the Pincher saga and the synergy between the Mandelson crisis. It combines elements of all of those things. I mean, I think the first thing is how important the scale of the scandal is. Obviously, Epstein is one of the world's most notorious paedophiles. So there is the whole child sexual abuse element of this before you get into the broader diplomatic implications and the implications for national security of the Mandelson appointment. But in terms of what Starmer's done, the evidence is now very clear. There are a number of reasons why, in my view, his position is now untenable. He's quite clearly lied to the House of Commons. He told the House of Commons at the very start of this process, on the 10th of September of last year, the full normal vetting process for Mandelson had been applied. We now know that is just factually not the case. We've literally got the evidence from the Jonathan Powell memo, in which Jonathan Powell, one of his most senior advisors, explicitly says the Mandelson appointment was rushed and unusual. That of itself is damning. But as I've written today in the Daily Mail, on top of that, we've now got what is quite clear, the cover-up. Because as I say, for me, one of the key things in sort of the document dump on Wednesday is, as I put it, is the dog that didn't bark. It's what wasn't included in the memos. And two specific things. We know that the key person in relation to the Mandelson appointment was Morgan McSweeney, Keir Starmer's chief of staff at the time. He was a close personal friend of Mandelson's. He was the person who pushed for the appointment. He managed the appointment. When there were issues raised about the appointment, McSweeney was dispatched to basically to question Mandelson about certain issues. So he was at the heart of it. He was Keith Starmer's most senior aide. There is nothing. There is not a single document that I've seen or anybody else has seen from Morgan McSweeney. And that is not... Can
I jump in? And I would never, ever do this to you because I respect you, but this is literally just in, and I'd like your response. Steve Swinford, political editor of The Sun, have you heard, at the Times, have you heard this? He's just broken... So this is unbelievable if true, and absolutely what you just said. Sir Keir Starmer did not speak to Lord Mandelson before appointing him as the ambassador to the US, and instead, this is unbelievable, delegated the vetting of his links to the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein to two personal friends of the peer. So it wasn't even McSweeney. Two friends of Mandelson were this is unbelievable, Dan Hodges.
But that's the point I'm making. One of those personal friends was McSweeney.
Oh, right.
Second personal friend was Matthew Doyle, his director of communication.
Wow.
Now that's correct, and that is the other thing I was going to come on to. The other, as it were, dog that didn't bark is, again, in the raft of documents that were released. There is not a single document or note or memo or communication from Keir Starmer himself. Now, if due process was followed, Keir Starmer ultimately obviously had responsibility for the final responsibility for the appointment. Where is the documentation relating to the Prime Minister? Wow. Now, if he didn't meet Mandelson, Mandelson personally, he must have communicated somewhere, in some way, his views on the appointment, why he wanted the appointment. We've seen the documents from certain government officials to the Prime Minister asking questions about the appointment, raising doubts about the appointment, asking for action in relation to the appointment, but there's nothing. It's quite clear that what we got dumped out on Wednesday was an entirely selective group of messages, and those in themselves are damning enough, by the way.
It's really interesting, isn't
There's
it?
enough in there to damn Starmer, but it's quite clear, as I say, that there is quite clearly a cover-up.
And have you got that clip from earlier about Johnson? Have you got that clip? Because I think, I do think in politics, Dan, and you've done such a great job with this, I do think occasionally we need to take time and go, hold on a second, this was in 2022. With the wind in his sails, he took aim, justifiably so, repeatedly at Boris Johnson. Just listen to the words to this, peeps.
Well, that apology was pretty worthless, wasn't it?
Of course he should resign. He's responsible for the culture.
The public have made up their mind. They don't believe a word the Prime Minister says. They know what he is.
It's interesting, isn't it, Dan? That was 4 years ago. That could absolutely be now said by somebody else about Keir Starmer.
No, absolutely, and that's the. I think that is. I mean, there are so many components of that, but that is the other issue. It's the blatant hypocrisy. We all saw year after year Keir Starmer in a self-serving. Politically partial, but in truth, in some instances, fair way, attacking Boris Johnson for his dishonesty and the dishonesty of his administration. But as I said, it is what we are seeing now is identical, and as I say, I think what Boris Johnson did in relation to Partygate was clearly a resigning matter because of the way he was asking the country to make personal sacrifices that he and were not making, and then tried to cover that up. But he did get fined for in Partygate was one thing, which was attendance at a party that he wasn't aware was taking place when he was given a piece of cake. Now, in my view, it wasn't this like, it was just a piece of cake. It was more significant than that. But I don't think it was as significant, frankly.
No, I don't either.
As the appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador, given the links with
the history
with Epstein.
Of course.
When and the initially you asked me when I last came on about Mandelson, because I actually said at the time, I actually thought it was a clever appointment at the time, and said so. And he asked me why, and I said because I genuinely didn't believe, as somebody who understands that there is or supposed to be a vigorous vetting process, a thorough process for a role as important as this. Never in a million years did I believe that actually the depth of the allegations were true. I just simply assumed that they'd gone through a very vigorous vetting process. I found out that a lot of this, some of the reports that we'd seen in relation to Mandelson Epstein simply were not true, and that was
Can I ask you a quick question? Because I'm with you. It turns out today, and you've just said it as well, the Times guy, Steve Sims was saying it, that he actually dispatched McSweeney, who's gone, and Doyle, who's gone, to go to their mate, they were protégés of him, and get him the job. Can I ask really simple, basic terms? Because I don't understand. My 2-year-old daughter would have said no to this. I don't understand. A1 is judging. Is he... there's no common sense in making that judgment. And more than that, did he honestly think this wasn't going to come back and beat him on the arse, bite him on the arse? I can't... That doesn't make sense to me, man.
But I think you just touched on two other... a crucial aspect of this, which I think is going to start to emerge throughout the day. You just touched on something very significant. You said he left it to McSweeney, he's gone. He left it to Doyle, he's gone. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No.
I don't think it's a coincidence that the two most senior aides responsible involved in this, who by the way, this isn't on them. Right, they were doing the Prime Minister's bidding here.
What did he say to Johnson? You were in charge of the government.
Exactly.
You have
So
to take ultimate responsibility. And I remember Johnson, I'm not sticking up for him, saying, and everybody, most of the media were appalled when Johnson stood up and said, you were in charge of the Public Prosecutions Office, which means you're responsible for letting Savile off the hook. And everybody went, that's outrageous. The same has to apply to this man.
But there's another issue. Just going to say this, because this is an important issue that's going to start to come out. One of the things we know for a fact is that, and again, I've written about this today, is just after the Mandelson appointment, Maurice Glassman, senior Labour peer, went to Washington for the Donald Trump inauguration, and he was asked to provide a report back for Morgan McSweeney and other Downing Street aides, what the mood was like out there, what the view was of Starmer and the Starmer administration. He produced a report in which he specifically, and it's been reported, in which he specifically warned and said, do not appoint Mandelson, reverse the appointment. It's a bad appointment. He produced a report, and that was sent to Downing Street, right? It was sent to Morgan McSweeney. But here's the crucial thing. It was sent to Morgan McSweeney. I've literally spoken to Maurice Glassman about this. It was sent to Morgan McSweeney's personal email account, not his official Downing Street email account. Now, the government is now saying we have no record of that communication. Wow. And I think one of the things that we're going to start to see as this goes and I've asked the question today about this is communication that was sent to people's private email accounts and private WhatsApp accounts, is that going to be included in this? Now, at the moment, as we can see, what the government is saying is we've got no record of this stuff. Now, I think this comes back, my understanding is this comes back to the point about the fact that both McSweeney and Doyle have now left, because my understanding is there is some complexity in relation to whether or not you can gain access to the WhatsApp of serving Downing Street officers, as opposed to can you get access to the private WhatsApp messages and private emails of people who are no longer serving in Downing.
Do you know what I have to finish, Ben? I love having you. Can I use a phrase my old man used to use? If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. This man is a hypocrite, and this man is a liar, and he came to power quite rightly by saying nothing, but he came to power by quite rightly dissing and outing a government that had failed in almost every promise, and Sleaze was from top to bottom, and we heard all the comments, this is going to be proper grown-up politics. You're right, Dan, what you say. This is probably even worse, and it's not even the litany of lies. As you said, it's the attempted cover-up. The one thing that always sustains me about this great country, and when people criticise certain media, I salute the media, because nobody, least of all you, nobody's going to let this go, because fundamentally this man has lied and tried to cover it up, and in any proper society that means he's toast. And of course he'll be there till after May, because it's like being Tottenham manager, nobody wants the job.
Well, let's wait and see. I mean, let's wait and see. I mean, really? Well, I mean, if we, I think the revelations this morning, the growing evidence of the cover-up, the fact that this is the other thing. Starmer's made no explanation. We've had no explanation from Starmer about any of this.
None. In fact, supporting you is Steve. Jez, if that breaking news is correct that Dan and you are talking about, he needs to go now. Not tomorrow, not next week. He needs to go now. He's no better than Johnson. Dan, thank you. Great piece in the Mail today. We love having you on. Dan Hodges from the Mail and the Mail on Sunday, giving it straight there about Keir Starmer. Revelations this morning that he not only lied, right, he tried to cover it up. The two personal friends of the peer, Mandelson, were Doyle, Sir Matthew Doyle, right, chucked out, friend of Starmer's. The odious Morgan McSweeney, friend of Starmer's, chief of that, chucked out. This comes back to Keir Starmer. And all the detractors can say to me, oh, you keep going for Starmer. He's a liar. he's incompetent, his judgment is appalling, and the chickens have come home to roost. Because you know what, Keir Starmer? You spent your time telling everybody that this was going to be different, that everybody who had come before you was a disgrace and a sleazeball. You are exactly the same. And if there's anything, any shred of honour in you, which I know there isn't, you would absolutely resign. This country wants you gone. Fact. 9:20.
conflict breaks out anywhere in the world, it has consequences here at home. Talk War is your definitive national security briefing. From the conflict in Ukraine to the tensions in Gaza and the latest escalation with Iran, this is where you'll find comprehensive comment and expert analysis with multiple updates throughout the day. The Talk War podcast from Talk, available on the Talk app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
What a busy show this morning, 9:23. Alex Phillips in for Julia Hartley-Brewer, the voice of, well, the housewives' voice. Ian Collins here from 1 o'clock and Kevin O'Sullivan sounding great on drive time. 9:23 0344 499 1000. Morning, Helen.
Hi, JK. This hate rally, well, hate static standing there thing, how is a hate anything allowed? I mean, it's asking for trouble. It's completely wrong. It's horrible. And, God, I just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there's bound to be something really horrible happen on that day. But let's get a good look at them. And I don't think they should be allowed to wear masks. I don't know whether they are allowed to wear masks, but let's see how many of them actually do. Now, there's going to be a lot of people at that rally thing, whatever it is, static nonsense, that are going to be people that we will be interested in the future, no doubt.
Couldn't agree more. This is about the Al-Quds rally on Sunday. Just to refresh, or maybe tell you for the first time, this is an Iranian supporting march. Actually, we had live pictures earlier. This is them now. This is in Tehran as it happens. This is an Al-Quds march in Tehran, in the centre right now. And this is genuinely a rally that supports the Ayatollah Khomeini and a regime that sponsors terrorism across the world and kills people, right? That's a fact. So on Sunday, there's an Al-Quds march in London. So on Monday, the Home Secretary goes, no, you can't have that, we'll ban it. But there's a loophole. If you stand still, apparently that's OK. It is utterly, utterly farcical to allow people onto the streets of this country who are preaching not just hate, but death via terrorism to people all around the world. And yet our government is apparently incapable or incompetent or doesn't just have the will to bring in a piece of legislation like they easily could do with their majority and get these people off our streets, and more so, empty the Iranian embassy and send these people home. I don't understand it. I'm getting more mad by the moment. To bring me to a sense of tranquility, my favourite guest. We say a very good morning to Talk's international editor, Isabel Oakeshott. You're looking wonderful this morning.
Oh, how nice of you. Well, I am temporarily back in the UK after a bit of a saga getting back here from Dubai yesterday, but we're all in one piece, and yeah, on we go.
I want to talk to you about so many things, but one of the things that's been coming out in the press over the last couple of days was that a certain influencer, and you know what an influencer is, I'm not. Anyway, this person had filmed footage of Dubai Airport being attacked by drones and is facing potentially 2 years in jail. Now, we've had texts, bless them, about you this morning saying, but Isabel had shown footage. Is she okay? We grabbed a hugely popular influencer earlier, a guy called Adam Abraham, the owner of Love Luxury, who flits between Knightsbridge and London. And I have to say, I'm going to play a little bit of it. My view was that he was very cautious about being critical of Dubai and the government. Just have a little look, Isabel. There's this story going around that a British tourist is facing up to 2 years in prison over footage they posted online of missiles being fired. And the intimation, I guess, Adam, is that the Dubai government want to give the impression that things are better than they are. Can you comment on that?
To be honest with you, Jeremy, I'm so out of touch with what's going on. I've been so busy with the luxury business in itself, especially with what's going on at the moment. Honestly, cannot comment on what you just said. I feel that, Dubai is currently sort of allowing us entrepreneurs to sort of end up in Dubai, sort of save money on taxes, live a better lifestyle, and it's rewarding us. And I feel the UK is currently punishing entrepreneurs like myself who want to grow. I do feel London and UK has great opportunity. It's just a crime rate at the moment, I feel, has caused a big issue, especially in the businesses that we run.
There's been a lot said that by influencers, actually, that there's pressure to not speak out about Dubai in terms of what is happening. Do you know anything about that at all?
I mean, I've heard people talk about it, a few influencers, very popular influencers that you probably spoke to on social media already, and I mean, it's not something that I've been told to not talk about, but I have heard some people not talking about certain situations, but I honestly have no idea. As in, it's not from a good source, it's just people say.
Isabel, help me out. What's the truth on the ground in Dubai?
I mean, the truth is that it's a lot quieter than usual, as you would expect. Of course it's quieter. Now, that is not because everybody has fled. It's because there's a lot less people coming in. And again, you'd expect that. It's obvious that when a country is being attacked in this outrageous way, you're not going to get lots of tourists coming in. And Dubai relies on churn. There's a lot of people on a daily basis that come in, whether it's for holidays or whether it's for international expos, whether it's for conferences. Naturally, that has dropped off for the time being. But as for this thing about it being so much worse than anyone is saying, this whole conspiracy theory about how, things must be truly dreadful in Dubai, and the only reason we're not knowing about that is because everybody's afraid to say. I'm not afraid to say exactly how it is. It is quiet. At the moment, I'm temporarily in the UK. I actually felt almost bad about coming back here, because I feel that those of us who live there and who love the country, it's not home, by the way, UK is home, I'm British, but those of us that are guests in Dubai, I feel we have a duty to stand by Dubai through these difficult times. And the only reason I'm back is not because I'm afraid to be there, I'm absolutely not. It's because somebody I like very much has got a big event in London on Saturday that I want to show up to.
Can I though? I'm not, because we're mates. I'm just going to say, but there is I mean, I get that, and I get the British business people say it's safe, and I'm sure it is, but there is a tourist facing 60 years of age, factual in the Mail, facing 2 years in prison over footage. And my point is simply this, not whether it's safe or it's not safe. I suspect, how do I put this? I suspect the dream that Dubai has sold is showing signs of cracking. So if that isn't made aware to people, not you, I guess that would favour the economy, the government, the country. That's all I'm saying, right?
Let me be really clear about what is going on here. When a country is under attack, as Dubai is, day in, day out, night in, night out, at the moment, totally unprovoked, it's completely sensible for a country to be hyper aware of what is being put out there in the information space. And I am completely stunned by how many people are desperate to do down Dubai. You're showing there a picture of some damage to a tower, which is a tiny fraction of the whole story, right? If you looked at Dubai now, it looks totally normal. They are intercepting everything that is thrown at the country.
Yep.
Now, small bits of debris have caused small bits of damage. But while all the people in the UK are on they're on their high horse about suppression of information and so on. Can I just remind people what our own government, the UK government, did during COVID about the persecution of people who spoke out against lockdowns, about the suppression of information, about the total shutdown of anyone who questioned the vaccine programme. As an anti-lockdown activist, as it were, I was not on the BBC throughout the entire pandemic.
That's a good thing.
When countries are in difficulty, and it would be completely ridiculous to claim that Dubai is not having a difficult time at the moment, it is right and sensible that they try to suppress information that could be misleading.
Do you think there's jealousy in some of the reporting from this country? Because, I mean, there was that do you remember that? We were talking a couple of weeks ago when that first flight wouldn't get out and everybody was going, why should we extradite these expats? They don't pay no bloody tax, they blah, blah, blah. I just thought that was a bit petty, if you want me to be honest. I mean, I said it earlier, I'll say it to you, I said it to that bloke. I think the reason that so many people have gone to build businesses in Dubai is because this country's on its arse and its tax system is completely outrageous, and I would be more worried if I was in charge of the Exchequer at the hundreds of millions of pounds in lost tax because my country wasn't the place that people wanted to build businesses in, Isabel.
Well, that is precisely it. You know, most people that have left the UK for tax reasons paid vast amounts before they left. And never forget how many people have an agenda to do down Dubai. The vested interests in this country, in the UK, in doing down Dubai are quite extraordinary. But it's obvious, follow the money, Jeremy. Quite literally, thousands of millionaires and multimillionaires have chosen to leave the UK because not just for money reasons, but for lifestyle reasons, for safety, all manner of things. And they've chosen to build new lives, not forever, but for the time being in Dubai. So, of course, there are vested interests in the UK in trying to say that the dream is over, it's all over.
Is it jealousy?
I believe that some people are jealous. Dubai's not for everybody. You know, those of us who know it, love it, and can't imagine just abandoning it because it's having a temporary period of difficulty, which was totally unprovoked.
Well, Darren in Cumbria says, thank God for Isabel Oakeshott. I'm so glad he's back. My daughters, he said, have been stuck out there for 2 weeks and I'm getting daily updates and they are saying everything is fine, so someone is talking nonsense. Now, I've fired you up, so now I'm going to give you, imagine you're playing cricket with me. This one's going for 6. Yesterday, our beleaguered Prime Minister finally takes full responsibility for appointing Mandelson. Cami Badenoch says he's a liar. It gets worse. He chose to apologise to the Epstein victims. These are kids who were raped by a paedophile at a community centre surrounded by children. And today, exclusively in the Times, Steve Swinford is saying that not only was it lies, but it was a cover-up, because it turns out that instead of anybody vetting the links of Mandelson to Epstein, he left it to McSweeney and Matthew Doyle. I only ask you this because you are more switched on than me. Boris Johnson was made to resign. A Sleaze inquiry was launched because he misled Parliament. How the hell, Isabel, is this man still there? He made a big song and dance, and he's as bad as, if not worse, than Boris Johnson, isn't he?
Well, I thought Dan Hodges was fascinating just now on the cover-up, and now the cover-up of the cover-up, and this issue of correspondence by WhatsApp, private messages and private email, which has not been released in relation to this appointment. But I don't think Starmer is going to resign anytime soon. As every year passes, the kind of threshold for prime ministerial resignation gets higher and higher and higher. No longer is it the case that prime ministers, or ministers indeed, resign on a point of honour. There has now been a long pattern of them clinging on as long as they possibly can. I think he's utterly discredited on every level, domestically, internationally, politically. People are desperate for an election, whether they want to vote to the left of Starmer or to the right of the Conservatives. They want to get rid of this administration. But are they going to give us an opportunity to do that? Not a cat and hell's chance.
He's got to go, though, mate. He's absolutely... I mean, just before we finish, the standing in a community centre surrounded by kids, I just think he's deranged, Isabel.
I don't think he's deranged. I think he's just totally lacking in something. There is something massive.
But he's thick.
He has no judgment. He has no judgment, and there is a lack of human instinct there, a kind of lack of political instinct, but also lack of humanity. The guy is just a walking cardboard box with a little mouth in it. That's weird.
A walking cardboard box with a mouth in it. I love it. Just listen, so you're in London. Are you going to the Al-Quds rally in central London? If you do go on Sunday, it's a terror march. And I don't know if you... I mean, no wonder you want to live in Dubai. I think I'd go tomorrow. In this country, we've finally got a Home Secretary on Monday to ban the Al-Quds terrorist-supporting hate march, spewing rubbish march. Because if they stand still, you can still do it. It makes no sense.
I mean, look, this is why people will still choose to live in the UAE, even while there are the odd missile flying around, which happily are being intercepted, because we don't have any of this stuff, okay? You know, for highly functional countries come with a downside, and that is that there's quite a lot of control. But you've got the opposite situation in the UK, where everything is a total free-for-all, and you can be as criminal or as hateful or whatever it is you want, and nobody is taking any charge of that. I know which one I prefer.
I'm so glad you're back. Have a great weekend. It might be that we're speaking to that person that you like very much in the next 20 minutes, but either way, we love having you on. Thank you so much indeed. The amazing Isabel Oakeshott just landed in the UK, 22 minutes to 10. Good morning, JW.
Morning, JK. This is JW, your local Texas redneck in Evesham, Worcestershire. Sounds like you've made a recovery from Cheltenham. It would take me 2 weeks, and I'm only 15 miles from it. But anyway, I love how they're allowing the static pro-Iran, pro-terrorist rally march. How much you want to bet? You probably like a good bet occasionally. Like me, I only bet on a sure thing. That they won't be standing still. It's going to be interesting to watch. And I just guarantee also they'll be covering their faces. You have a good one. Keep up all the great work you've done over the years. See you later.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Talk more? I'm out of talking. 20 to 10. We're live across the... Download the Talk app. It's absolutely fantastic. It says here, you'll have real fun with it. I'm joking. JK till 10, 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. Alex Phillips will drag herself into the studio at 10 o'clock and take you on a whirlwind ride. That didn't sound right, but I knew what I meant. A very good morning. Here's a legend. Slightly... Royal Bug for Angela... I can't even say your name. Angela Levin. Hello, how are you, my darling?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I've renamed you Andrew Levin. That's slightly embarrassing, isn't it? Angela, I haven't. No, it's not my teeth. I haven't recovered from Cheltenham. I think that some of the blood still needs to get back into my alcohol system. Anyway, my darling, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on. It just doesn't go away, does it? This whole royal debacle. There's a story out today that I think, you know, and Andrew Loney has gone on and on about the Yorks and talked incessantly about how Fergie needs to be questioned and how the girls have been and should be dragged into this. We heard overnight, Angela, that Beatrice and Eugenie still have homes in royal palaces, that their father, the disgraced Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, signed deals on the home which are let for far less than their market value. This can't go on, can it?
Well, it's been going on for an extremely long time. I don't listen very much to what he's saying because I know it's not always true. But this with Beatrice and Eugenie, it goes right back for a long time. I mean, originally, Andrew would absolutely fight with Charles about them having 24/7 people looking after them. You know, it cost us £500,000 annually, right? And the whole thing about the money was what Andrew was fighting for them. He doesn't want them to pay for anything that they have. He does like his children very much, but then you would think he would behave in a better way. So with Beatrice, she's got
an apartment in St James's Palace, and Eugenie has Ivy Cottage, a 3-bedroom property at Kensington Palace.
Yes. It's difficult to know exactly how much it costs because people don't know exactly how many rooms there are other than the bedrooms. But they have had that where they pop in and stay. Sometimes it's useful to do something near the Buckingham Palace, but other times it's just what they have. But one of the things that really upset me is that people that Andrew worked with gave him money to give to the children. And this was absolutely masses of money. And I think that's disgusting. They should never have taken it, however old they are. And Andrew shouldn't have given it to them.
Well, this is with... I know you said you don't believe everything he says, but this is what Andrew Lowney, to his credit, has said for years, that this goes beyond Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His wife has been on the take, and these kids... And Angela, when I first started talking about this, I thought they were young when they were taken to Epstein by Fergie. Yes. They were 18 and 20. There has to be... There has to, I'm afraid, be... some knowledge of what's gone on by these girls, which means by implication they have been dragged into, through their naivety or whatever, into the same web of lies that their parents are facing, you know, the reality of explaining.
I agree totally with you. I thought they were little kids, you know, 7, 8 or something like that, where it doesn't matter. But to that age, they must have known exactly what was going on, how they could go to a party when he was five days after he came out of prison and actually spend a few days with him. My God, you know, if I had my children, I wouldn't let them go anywhere near him. I wouldn't take them near.
To a paedophile, Fergie. To a known, convicted paedophile. But these girls, I'm really sorry, I've nothing against them personally, but I think they are up to their necks in. And I go back, and you know I'm a royalist, you're a royalist. I think the king is going to be in ever-increasing trouble. I mean, I know a lot of people say, some people say, oh, Andrew, he's had enough, he's stuck in Wood Farm and he can't ride his horses and he can't go out. Try telling that to working Brits, that this guy's got a chef and a valet. I think the king, Angela, is going to get tremendous grief if he continues to fund Andrew's lifestyle?
Well, they've been trying to get their mother not to write her a book about the royal family. I'm not saying that changes anything, but they're apparently pleading with her, crying to her not to do it. Now, can you recommend a woman who would behave like that with her children? It is disgusting. They might be trying, but you can't change something you did when you were 20. That's not a thing that you can do. And I think that Beatrice, her husband's family, are absolutely furious with him to have married somebody like this. So there might be some problem.
Really?
Yes, they're sort of got sort of royalty in Japan with around the family, and they're absolutely furious with him. We haven't seen him. He's gone off somewhere.
Is this Brookshire? Which one is that?
What do you mean? Which?
Is that Eduardo one? Is
yes,
it? Yes,
him.
Yes, he's actually got links to the royal family in Italy. You're absolutely right on that. And to be fair, I mean the whole thing. It just, and I include the girls now, it just stinks, and the damage that it spreads out. I mean, listen, we've had this conversation before, and I'll keep saying it. I think for our beloved monarchy, the further this goes on, the only way it can be saved is by the king falling on his sword, blaming his diagnosis, and letting his son start with a clean slate. And I hate to say it, but I think that might be the only way forward, Angela.
I don't actually. I think that he can do it, but it's very difficult to do it for your nieces, to do it for the people you love within your family. But I think that I've been told that he takes no notice of Harry and Meghan at all anymore. So that's something big.
Actually, I must get a comment. I thought we could go through a whole 8 minutes without mentioning that odious woman, but I'm going to give this to you. I've decided to buy you a present, Angela. I'm sending you to Australia. It's cost me 1,700 quid, and you are going to spend a weekend at a wellness clinic, drinking juices, doing stretches in your leggings, and you're going to get Meghan Markle speaking to you and inspiring you to be a better person. How are you feeling?
I feel that's wonderful. I use my married name so they wouldn't know that it's me. I'd get there.
How low could she sink? Seriously.
I know. Well, she is beyond any hope. She thinks she's so wonderful, and that's net. And you know what the last prize is? Actually having a photograph of her. That's what she's giving as a present. Now, can you imagine anybody actually saying that about themselves?
I had a great weekend. I went all the way to Australia, and I had a photo with Meghan Markle. I'd rather get measles.
Yeah, well, I remember all the awful things she did when she went to Australia in 2018. And actually, I've got several people who, like me, who read what I say, and they're from Australia, and they've written to me and said, please, Angela, stop her coming. We don't like her. We don't like her. We don't want her here. Well, please stop it. Well, I can't do that. But she's not popular. And to ask for that sort of money is a total, utter disgrace, because she thinks she's so wonderful. She knows what she's doing with this money, the talk, the conversation. It's about all the things she's done with Netflix.
Jam.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Jam.
Yeah, but all the things, how she's managed this and how she's done podcasts, who wants that?
Well, you do, you're going, because I bought you that present. Angela Levin, we really appreciate you being on. Have a wonderful time in Australia. We've got some breaking news, serious breaking news before we head to the break. 4 of the 6 US crew members on board a refuelling plane that went down in western Iraq have sadly died. US Central Command just breaking that tanker tragedy. More in the news at 10. This is Talk.
conflict breaks out anywhere in the world, it has consequences here at home. Talk War is your definitive national security briefing. From the conflict in Ukraine to the tensions in Gaza and the latest escalation with Iran, this is where you'll find comprehensive comment and expert analysis with multiple updates throughout the day. The Talk War podcast from Talk, available on the Talk app or wherever you get your podcasts.
UK on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. 8 minutes to 10, 8 minutes away from Alex Phillips. They say after a perfect meal, it's all about what you have as your final course. We're very excited to give you, ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK. Obviously didn't get out of bed very early this morning. Richard Tice, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning from Boston in Lincolnshire, Jeremy, where I've driven from 5:30 this morning. So just to correct the alarm clock, Britain.
Let's ask you a question. What did you listen to on the radio in the car?
I listened to a variety of wonderful things. I tuned into you from time to time.
Honestly, Tice, you want me at your wedding, you want my support, and you can't even give me 4 hours of your life. Richard, thank you for joining us really, really quickly. So much I want to ask you, but there was breaking news overnight, and I think this is really interesting, that the UK economy has flatlined in January, which means that there's absolutely no growth, and we know why that is. And they tried, the spin doctors, to say this is the war in the Middle East. It's not. It was flatlining before that. This is because of the incompetence of the economic policy of this government, isn't it?
It is 100% on this government. And these numbers were worse than the economists were forecasting. They're consistently worse because the impact of raising taxes, wasting, government, public sector spending all over the place that everybody sees, raising regulations, whether it's on employment regulations, everything else, it just adds to the cost for businesses, and they have to pass it on to the consumers. And consumers have got less money in their pockets, really feeling the pinch. And therefore, don't be surprised if people aren't spending as much. And, this is totally on the government. The numbers are actually getting worse month on month on the sort of 3-month measurement from November, December, January. And per person, because, of course, of mass immigration, Jeremy, we are now actually in recession. Yep, we've now had 7 months of per person recession. And yet the government says it's going according to plan. I mean, these people are completely delusional. But what do you expect from hard socialists?
I must say, we haven't got a lot of time. I'm going to throw quite a lot at you. Whilst the war, all sorts of things, last night British Air Base in Iraq under attack, John Healey says, we might have to do more, Putin's hidden hand. Whilst all of this was going on, imagine yourself in the cabinet right now. Don't worry, because Foreign Office staff have been celebrating the Islamic Revolution by attending a party at the Iranian embassy just weeks after they murdered 30,000 of their own people. And the blob you and I go on about, in a statement the Foreign Office Civil Service said it's the normal part of diplomacy to help protect the UK. Why are we not throwing every single Iranian diplomat out of this country, Richard?
It's appalling, and sadly it confirms why the Foreign Office have been guilty of misleading ministers and Secretary of State, the Foreign Secretary, into not prescribing the IRGC and not prescribing the Muslim Brotherhood. Because the truth is, it turns out they're in their pocket, they're at their parties. And this requires a wholesale clear out of this culture of kowtowing to deeply anti-Semitic, anti-Western, terrorist sympathisers and sponsors. It's truly appalling.
And that's why that march, the Al-Quds march on Sunday, which was going to be banned but can't be, because apparently if you stand still, it's not a march. You can spew your hatred and wave your flag, but if you're static, I mean, that's ludicrous, isn't it? Ludicrous, man.
It's all ludicrous, but it's better than letting the marches go ahead. It's a step in the right direction. It's 2 years too late, which is why...
Richard, can I just jump in? Because I know you've got a sense of humour. It's not really a step in the right direction, is it?
All right, that's not bad for you, Jeremy, at this time of the morning, at the end of your 4-hour stint. But,
wow. I'm going to finish. I've got 2 minutes. I'm going to leave this for you, Tice, man. Yesterday, finally, Keith Stalin took full responsibility for appointing Mandelson. Cammy calls him a liar. Nigel the same. We discovered this morning with Dan Hodges, right? Apart from his ability to stand in a sort of school community centre and apologise to victims of a paedophile, which optics-wise was appalling. There's lies, there's a cover-up, and now there's trying to be a cover-up of the cover-up. He can't. He is as guilty as he accused Johnson of being, isn't he?
Oh, I think he's more guilty, actually, than he accused others of. And, you know, he said people should resign for having a piece of cake. Well, actually, this Prime Minister, he is guilty. He has deliberately misled the House of Commons on a number of occasions, as Dan Hodges has well written in today's Daily Mail. And yeah, there's a cover-up of a cover-up, and it's completely unacceptable. And frankly, his cabinet, they've got to call him out on it. They've got to say he can't carry on. I mean, he's destroying our economy. He's humiliated us on the international stage. The man's a laughingstock.
I mean, you could only assume that. There is no other way of accepting it. He is a laughingstock, but we all know, it's like Spurs, you're a football man. Who the hell wants that job for 7 weeks ahead of the elections, the local elections? Because he's going to be decimated, right? The truth of the matter is, he is a dead man walking. I just, honestly, for the sake of this country on so many levels, he needs to go. But the alternative, Richard, could be even worse, man.
Well, let's wait and see. But I think Keir Starmer's days are numbered. It's whether or not he sees the summer holidays as Prime Minister. I think the odds are against that. And yeah, I think they need to realise that they've got to change course completely. They've got it totally wrong. And we're all getting poorer. We're getting poorer financially, culturally, as a society. And